Hey, in the immortal words of Judy Brown, happiness, choice. We're happy you're spending some time with us, shipping Zay off the rails on a Thursday. We are counting down to kick off Texas and Florida. Could be the most important game of the college football season for the Longhorns. And Zay, I played golf today.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. So hold on tight. I played golf today with a diehard Oklahoma Sooner fan.
Oh,
and he said, we don't have to worry about beating Texas because Arch Manning is going to beat Texas against OU.
Oh.
So the Sooners are not buying Arch Manning. And this Saturday in Gainesville, Florida, we will see where Arch Manning is in his development. Arch Manning can make a statement in this game at 2:30 in the swamp at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, where the Gators fans are ready to turn on their coach. They're ready to turn on their quarterback. They're ready to turn on everything blue and orange. They're ready to turn. Texas just has to give them a reason to turn. Just give them a reason. Hell, it could be a Jack Bowmeister punt to the 1 yard line. It could be a sack by Colin Simmons. It could be anything. Yeah. But it will not be a run by C.J. Baxter because he is not ready to go. But Quintravian Wisner's ready to go. We could see an Emmett Mosley, the 1, 2, 3, 4 sighting. But this is about Arch Manning. This Saturday at 2:30 is about number 16 on the offense. What's he got? Is he ready? Is he ready for prime time? Is he ready for the rain? Is he ready for the humidity? He's going into the home of Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow and SEC today will be there. Is Arch Manning ready to look into the eyes of Tim Tebow and say, I'm ready to come into your house and kick you in the nuts? Is he ready for that? Is he ready to go? Is he ready to go? That's what we're going to find out about Arch Manning at 2:30 Saturday on ESPN. Am I wrong?
I mean, I love it. I love it. I love the vibe that you're rolling with here on this lovely Thursday we got. I always love when you play golf, dog. It's always a great day when you play some golf. You deserve it. You deserve to play some golf. You work hard. You know what I'm saying? You're a hardworking man. Horns 24/7's finest. What you do here on Texas Sports Unfiltered, what you do for my career, man. You work. You're a very hardworking man. I enjoy that you enjoy time like golfing that, you know, it's very deep to you. I appreciate that. Kicking Tim Tebow in the nuts is a little crazy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Tim deserves all that. Tim's a very wholesome man. I love Tim Tebow.
I love Tim Tebow.
Yeah. You know, the NFL career went south, but down in Gainesville, I'm sure he hasn't had to pay for a meal in over a decade. So, yeah, I it's going to be a tough environment. You know, I definitely think they are ready to turn on Billy Napier, and they can't wait to do that. And how will the Florida football team respond knowing that? And, you know, now, of course, this week when Texas is playing, Billy Napier has said, oh, DJ, he's had his best day of practice all year yesterday, Wednesday. So it's like, all right, cool. Like, I guess that's the thing. Like, we're going to see the best of DJ Lagway. We haven't seen that yet. So I'm expecting that on the day that it ain't going to be too pretty outside. It's going to be a very nasty but type of football weather day that you can appreciate. Love hearing Steve Sarkisian talk about the team always prepares for these wet type of temperatures, environments. So, yeah, man, Arch Manning, he has a lot to prove to people. prove to himself, to prove to his ball club. And this is the team to do it. You know, they're a little weak on that defensive side. A lot of injuries. You look at that report, man. LJ McCray, edge rusher, out. Jacoby Jackson, running backs, backing up Jaden Ball, out. John Johnson, Caleb Banks, corner and a really good defensive tackle, out. So there's a lot of guys that are going to be getting opportunities for this Florida team that don't have the experience. And you got to take advantage of that, man. You got to take advantage. We know Ron Roberts, he ain't going to let you do anything deep. Not many explosive plays that you're going to see on Florida, that too high safety defense. It negates all those things. But are you willing to take the intermediate stuff, to deke and duck? Do you have the discipline as a team? That's what I'm terrified of, because we're talking about long drives here with the type of defense that Florida plays. Do they have the discipline to say, screw the penalties? We got to stay locked in. Screw jumping off sides. Screw holding. You know what I'm saying? Get rid of all that self-inflicting wound stuff. Do they have that in them coming off that bye? We will see in a couple of days, man. I don't feel good. I'm not going to lie. I don't feel good. You asked me how I felt about this game. I don't know when that was. I told you a 5. Now I'm at like a 4.5.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't feel good.
What the hell happened?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know what happened.
What do you mean you don't know? What do you mean?
It's 0.5. It ain't much, but
4.5 sucks.
I mean, it was out of 5.
4.5 is the worst.
It was out of 5. Give me a break here.
A 5 is an F.
Yeah, that's your fault for bringing up Tebow. Tebow in there.
He ain't playing.
Yeah, but you know, he might get the fans hype. What if he gives a speech or something?
The fans don't matter.
I'm talking about to the team. What if Tebow goes in that locker room and gives a speech?
I mean, it might matter to the defense, but even the defense is without all those guns, man.
Yeah, but
I mean, you got no Caleb Banks. You got no LJ McCray. You're down. This is about Arch Manning. This is about Arch Manning. This is about Arch Manning saying, you know what? I see you down. I'm going to kick you. I'm going to kick you, three-legged dog. I'm going to kick you right out of the swamp. I'm going to get this place empty by the third quarter. This is where you go. This is where you go. What's his name? From Alabama. Quarterback last year, went into LSU, emptied the stadium third quarter. Who's that big fella? Jalen
Milroe?
Jalen Milroe went into Tiger Stadium and said, y'all just go home. There's nothing to see here. By the third quarter, Alabama had emptied Tiger Stadium last year. That's what Arch Manning needs to do. He needs to roll into the swamp and be like, you know what? I don't think y'all want to be here. It's raining. It's humid. You don't like your coach. You don't like much about anything. I'm going to let you go home and watch the other 2:30 games. That's what this game is about. This game's about Arch Manning saying, you know what? I'm the boss in this effing mother effing.
Now say it. You can say it today. You want to play golf.
This is about Arch Manning saying, this is my effing house. This is not your effing house. Tim Tebow, I appreciate you. You gave the best post-game speech of all time after you got your ass kicked by Jevin Sneed and Ole Miss. And they put a plaque up because you got your ass kicked so bad by Jevin Sneed that you said, no one will work harder than me. No, la, la, la. And then you won a national championship. Tim Tebow, I respect you. I respect what you did. But you know what? You're sitting there on the set with Laura Rutledge now, and she's looking good. Ooh. So you just sit there and you stare at Laura Rutledge because I'm going to take care of this today. I'm going to knock y'all out today. Jaden Baugh, you could be a baller, but say hello to my little friend. Say hello to my many friends. You know, Murad Watson, Cole Brevard, Anthony Hill, Leon Galafau, Michael Taft. Say hello to my little friends. And you're not going to, you're going to want this game to be wiped from your resume because you're going to average about 2.2 yards per carry.
Damn.
No. Arch Manning could say, hey, if Arch Manning has the cojones, if his nuts have dropped He walks into that locker room in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. He says, listen, we're going to handle our business today on offense. Defense, you get the day off. You get the day off. We're going to take this. We're going to put 40 on the board.
Damn.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, that's the gangsta mentality. Are we there yet with Arch Manning? Are we there yet? Are we at the gangsta mentality? I don't know. I'd love to see it because you are a third-year player in this offense. You are a third-year player in this offense. You have played 4 games for the Texas Longhorns. 3 of them sucked. Okay, 2.5 sucked. But guess what? Now you get to show some stuff.
Hell
now
yeah.
you get to walk out there and say, Tim Tebow, I appreciate you, but I'm going to show you who's the boss now. Who's the sheriff now? You know, my uncle, they called my uncle the sheriff. Well, guess what? There's a new sheriff, and he just got deputized in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. He just got deputized in the swamp at the expense of your Gators. That's what it should look like. That's what it should look like at 2:30 on Saturday. That stadium should be empty in the fourth quarter. Let's keep it real, Zach. If Arch Manning's ready, if he's ready to step out and say to the college football world, you know what? I don't know who y'all were looking at the first 2.5 games, but now you know. Now you know. And guess what? OU, you're next. That's the kind of message that needs to be coming out of Ben Hill Griffin Stadium at about 5:30, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock Eastern, Saturday night. That's the kind of message that needs to be coming out. That's the kind of message.
Hell yeah. I'm with it.
Are we there?
You go in the locker room. I know that's probably against the rules and all, but man, you are one today.
I mean, but seriously, you know what I mean?
I hear
This
you.
Florida team is ready to turn on itself. The fans are ready to check out. I'm going to go to this game. I'm going to go
To hate.
but I may not stay. That's their mindset. That is the mindset of every Gators fan going into the swamp at 2:30 or 3:30 Eastern on Saturday. I'm going, but I may not stay. So Arch, give him a reason to leave. Give him a reason to leave at halftime. Say, I told you, honey. I told you we shouldn't have gone to this game.
You talking about the husbands?
Oh, yeah, the husbands are like, honey, or the wives. The wives might be like, honey, I told you we shouldn't have gone to this game.
Oh, man. Come on. You got to be loyal, though.
You got to be loyal.
No,
they'll be loyal. They'll be loyal because
Yeah.
when they bought their season ticket package, they saw Texas was coming.
That's
First
right.
time since 1940. First time in 85 years. I mean, they were wearing leather helmets back then. Now, here they come. Here come the Horns to the swamp for the first time in 85 years. They're going to be loyal. They're going to show up, but they don't want to stay. Don't give them a reason to stay.
Oh,
Do not. Don't, Arch. Don't do it. It's all in your hands.
that's
You
a
play
lot.
clean.
All
You play
in his
clean.
hands?
Texas wins this game by 24. You play dirty. Texas wins by 5.
Like you putting it all in his hands, like nobody else can help. I feel like
No,
Contravian
it's
Wiseman,
really all in his hands.
like Contravian Wiseman possibly coming back. Emmett Mosley, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. Like, you know,
Right.
he gotta
So
do
don't
it
just
all.
put the ball in your playmaker's hands.
Okay.
Don't be throwing it up for grabs. Don't be running around. Don't take your first read. You had a first down to Parker Livingston. Just take it. Instead, you ran around and threw it up for grabs and took points off the board. You cannot do that anymore. You did not throw an interception for the first time against Sam Houston. Congratulations. You threw an interception in each of your first 3 games, and they were terrible.
Yeah, you and I could go start in the secondary for Sam Houston right now. Right now. and have a better football focus grade than those dudes.
I don't know what the Bowie Bulldogs record was last year in football, but that's who Texas beat. They beat the Bowie Bulldogs. They beat the Bowie Bulldogs. So don't load up.
See, and that's why it's a 4.5. That's why on my scale, how nervous I am, 1 to 10.
Okay, but hold on a minute. Let's dive into your 4.5. That's terrible. Like, what are you envisioning happening? You're envisioning Arch throwing interceptions. You're envisioning fumbles, turnovers, penalties. 4.5.
The weather.
You're envisioning your block punt. What else you got? Block field goal.
The weather scares me. The offensive line not being able to push no damn body scares me. Contravian Wisner, yeah, he's questionable, which that's good, but also we don't know. So we're going to rely on these other young backs with this very sketchy offensive line, and Arch also the ability for him to play sketchy too. I don't know. That makes me nervous. Like that weather. We'll see how it is, but a lot makes me nervous, man. Looking forward to OU, looking too far ahead and not focusing on living in the moment and being where your feet are.
If you're looking ahead to OU, then Steve Sarkisian he's not the coach we think he is. I don't think they'll look ahead. I think they will be where their feet are. And I think this is really, let's be honest. If Arch plays a C+ game against Ohio State, Texas wins that game, and they're undefeated, and they're the number 1 team in the country. He played a C- game. He didn't believe in himself. He told you after the game. Guy had his shoulders shrugged, head down.
He didn't say he didn't believe in himself.
No, but he's like, I got to play better. I let my team down. Okay, well, guess what? If you'd have had any kind of normalcy, you weren't throwing fucking fastballs from 5 yards away with an open stance. Terrible.
Yeah.
Sidearm. Rifles. I mean, Ryan Wingo's like, what the hell are you doing? I am right here. I'm wide open. All you got to do is feather me the ball. And we are moving the chains and getting down the field. DeAndre Moore, first play of the game. Wide ass open. He might have gone for a touchdown. He had one guy to beat. He could have gone for a 60-yard touchdown. And guess what? Arch acted like he had Jim Laurinaitis on his back. Nick Bosa hanging on him. Throws it in the dirt. No one near him. What the hell was that? Okay. Nerves, jitters. I'm in this shoe. It's my first road start. Understandable. We are a month into the season. You have been on the road at a hostile environment. Okay. The swamp should be nothing. It should be. You should have your identity by now. I've talked to coaches all week. I'm like, do you have your identity? Yes. The coaches know what the identity is 4 games into the season. You and I sit here and talk all week. What's the identity of Texas offense? Arch running. It's not Arch play action pass deep. It was one game that he did that against San Jose State. 9 explosive pass plays. Then the next week, he throws 10 straight incompletions, gets booed. The hell was that? I got people telling this dude I played golf with today, he's OU. He's like, Arch is hurt. Arch is hurt. His labrum hurt. His labrum. It's off. That's rotator cuff. You know, You start throwing it like this when your rotator cuffs. I'm like, damn, dude. I mean, he's so confident in OU beating Texas. It's ridiculous.
I love that.
He's like, Mateer's going to play. OU's going to beat Texas' ass. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I love that for him. I'm glad
Right.
all you fans feel good about
So this is where you start to lay down the law. You tell the rest of your teammates, it's not about telling the college football world. It's about telling your locker room, I got you. I got you. We're going into Florida. We haven't been there since 1940.
It's a long time.
We're 3-0-1 against these fools. We never lost. We're walking out of there 4-0-1. And guess what? I'm going to make sure Tim Tebow's like, damn, Art.
Why so much on Tim?
Because he's going to be there.
Yeah, but Tim's like the nicest guy ever. Like Tim, I'm
No,
sure
he is the nicest guy, but he's got that magic, man. Tim Tebow's got magic. Like even when he was playing for the Denver Broncos, he hit that dude 88 who's dead now. He hit him in stride against Pittsburgh Steelers. They beat the Steelers in the playoffs, and the Broncos were like, we've got to get rid of this guy. He's too much of a
distraction.
He's a distraction. He's polarizing. He's all about God, and God forbid he's about God. God forbid he's got God on his side. God forbid we got a quarterback who's got God on his side. Maybe we should keep the guy. Like Tim Tebow's got that spirit.
He's got an aura. There's an aura.
Yeah, he's got some evangelism in him, right?
I feel like this energy that you're putting towards Tim should be more towards Aaron Rodgers' little brother, who will also be there because he's a part of that SEC team, Jordan. Shout out to my man Jordan. You know I'm a Bachelor nut, and he was a Bachelor legend.
Oh yeah, Jordan.
He
married JoJo. I love JoJo.
Yeah, JoJo, cool. She's one of our favorites. There's not many favorites. JoJo's one of the cool ones, but he was the one saying Arch Manning ain't shit the whole time. Off season, now he came on their show when Arch struggled against Ohio State, gloating, wearing a cowboy hat and stuff. So I think if anybody needs to feel Arch Manning's wrath, it's Jordan Rodgers.
Okay.
Him that
throw him in there.
Throw him in there. Yeah, Tim.
Throw him right in there.
Do it, but I feel like Tim's going to be obviously going for his Gators, but also Tim respects good quarterback play. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen. This is going to be about hitting early. You got to punch first. When you got a coach in a team that's on the brink, think of how dumb Florida's football team is. They have South Florida beat.
Yes,
and some idiot spits on another player to extend the game-winning touchdown drive.
You gotta spit on them.
He spit on him.
Yeah.
He spit on him.
Yeah.
And this is right after the whole Dak Prescott, Jalen Carter deal. Like, what better example do you need not to spit on somebody? You're going to get ejected. You're going to get a 15-yard penalty and hurt your team. You keep that saliva right in your gums.
You weren't there, though. What if the dude he got he spit on was a problem the whole
deserved
game?
It?
I'm not saying deserved it. I'm just
after the game, you can handle that. You want to handle it? Go in the parking lot. Punch his lights out. Don't spit on him in the damn game and cost your team a loss.
They're kids, man.
I know, but guess what? You just tanked you just put your coach in the crosshairs right now.
That, but why? How about blame Billy Napier on the drive where they were supposed to ice the game? He throws it 2 times, both times incomplete to save time where South Florida doesn't have to call a timeout. And then dramatic. That was dumb. I blame that more than
that's what I'm talking about. You got one of the dumbest teams in college football. You are playing one of the dumbest teams in college football this weekend. And you get to go into their house. And you get to kick over all the furniture, take their women, and remind them, hey, you're really the dumbest team in college football. Sorry we had to come in here, kick over the furniture, and take your women. But God damn, you're dumb. You are the dumbest team. You are so damn dumb. Sorry we had to come in here and get Billy Napier fired. But hey, man, we got to go because we got OU next week. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it needs to be. No one's talking about Texas. No one thinks Texas is worth a flip. And you know why? Because of Arch Manning.
Yeah.
They all think Arch Manning is a phony, a flake, a phony, that he does not have the goods, that he doesn't have that grind, that dirt. He doesn't have what Diego Pavia has. Diego Pavia has nothing. So Diego Pavia, who's going to have Johnny Manziel at the Vanderbilt Alabama game.
Yo, that's deep, man. Your
That's
idol.
deep.
Your idol.
Like, A&M's playing Mississippi State at home, and Johnny's going to be in Tuscaloosa with Diego Pavia. I kind of think this is like the greatest. I'm listening to all these pundits like, what is Diego Pavia doing idolizing John? I'm like, they are the same person. Do you not realize? Does anyone remember Diego Pavia taking a piss on midfield of their rival when he was in New Mexico? Like, they caught him on film. In the middle of the night, Diego's whipping out his dong and taking a leak all over the football field, and they caught him.
It's the rival. It had to be done.
That's Diego Pavia. That guy's got dirt, man. That guy's got nothing. So he's like, I don't have anything. I'm dangerous. I don't have anything to lose. I'm out here to cut your throat. You know why? Because I got nothing. I got nothing, man.
Those are the scariest people in the
They're
world.
the scariest people out there.
Got nothing to lose.
Got
Terrifying.
nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You know what my man Sean Adams always used to say? Don't get in fights with people who don't have as much to lose as you.
Yeah.
Don't ever get in fights with people who don't have as much to lose as you. And guess what? Diego Pavia. Now he's got some scribble. He's got some scratch now in his pocket. And he could have had a lot more, apparently, if he went transferred to some other SEC program. But he still acts like he's got nothing, which is kind of why I love him.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of love Diego Pavia. I'm kind of cheering for him to win the Heisman. Because these guys are like, what is Diego Pavia doing hanging out with Johnny Manziel? I'm like, Johnny Manziel, he may be a total F-up, but he did win the Heisman. And Diego Pavia, if Diego Pavia wins the Heisman this year, do we understand what's going on? Diego Pavia wins the Heisman this year. This is a guy whose brothers wear farmer jeans with no shirts. They get in fights. They get arrested. Their mom's like, oh, their mom's like this. Oh, I don't know what's going to happen next.
Well, the mom looks good. I like mama.
Right, mom. Everyone wants to date
cool.
mom.
Yeah, mom's cool. I like her.
Mom's cool. We like mom. But Diego Pavia, I'm just telling you, I'm kind of cheering for this guy to win the damn Heisman. I'm bored. I'm a Heisman voter, and I'm bored with half the Heisman winners. Give me Randy Moss in shades at the Heisman ceremony. Give me Ricky Williams in his dreads at the Heisman ceremony. Give me Diego Pavia with his brothers in their naked farmer jeans at the Heisman. I want them to show up at the Heisman in their black and gold farmer jeans with no shirts on. Like, that's who they are. And Clark Lee, I heard someone say this week, Clark Lee and Diego Pavia, their personalities couldn't be more different. You know what they have in common? They love winning. They love winning.
You're sure?
I'm just telling you.
I feel like they're a lot alike to me.
Yeah.
Crazy
Let's
as hell.
let's bring in our SEC insider and prognosticator to get his take on Diego Pavia. Because Diego Pavia winning the Heisman Trophy is going to be the greatest thing we've ever seen. And guess what? Diego Pavia is taking on Alabama, fresh from their win over Georgia in Sanford Stadium, just as Lance Taylor predicted. Lance'sLock.com, MFers.
Yeah, Lance, Chip played golf today, so here you go.
What happens to you up there? What happens to you on the course? Do you take the enemas with vodka in them? They put them in your ass, and you just.
What's wrong with you? Why are you saying stuff like that?
I mean, I like
Are you
this.
pissed off that I just said Diego Pavia is going to beat Alabama?
Yeah, I honestly, I thought about you, and I almost brought this up on the air today because we were showing different personalities around the country that think that Vanderbilt is going to win this game. There's a few problems for that to happen. First of all, I think this is best Vanderbilt team, for whatever this is worth, that I have ever seen.
Ever.
Yeah, they're 5-0 for the second time.
Lance, do you understand they lead the SEC in quarterback pressures?
Okay.
And Alabama has 49 quarterback pressures and Vanderbilt has 94.
Okay, you also understand that Vanderbilt's big wins are against a team they were down double digits at halftime that fired their coach the next week in Virginia Tech, and then against a South Carolina anemic offense who is the worst offense in the SEC that lost their quarterback in the first quarter. So with all that said, here are the problems. You're facing Kalen DeBoer at home, hasn't lost there. You're facing Kalen DeBoer as a ranked team, doesn't lose to ranked teams. You beat them last year. Diego Pavia is talking shit now. It's one thing, and this broke yesterday when we were on the air, and Ryan Brown, one of our co-hosts, was like, oh, we've got this comment from Pavia. And the way he set it up, I for sure thought it was going to go like this. If we do what we need to do between the lines on Saturday, we'll win the game. No, he doesn't go there. If we do what we need to do, we'll win the game going away. So more locker room fodder. I think this thing is lining up bad for Vanderbilt, as good as they are. I think Alabama wins the game going away.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But real quick, Zay, with that said, I could easily see Alabama go to Columbia, Missouri next week and lose that 11 o'clock game.
Interesting.
Yeah. Missouri's better than Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Missouri is good.
Yeah,
Missouri's
they're real good.
Yeah, your
Missouri's
thoughts
really
on
good.
Go ahead, Chip.
No, Missouri's really good. That's all.
Yeah, your thoughts on just that win in Athens for Alabama. I mean, first half looked great. You put up 24 points, but in the second half, they didn't score at all, but you were still able to get the dub. Big time win for Kalen DeBoer, Ty Simpson. He's got a little a-hole in him that I respect, man. Quiet in the crowd in Athens. That dude, I didn't expect that from Ty Simpson. I was impressed.
I saw it too, Lance. I'm a believer.
Yeah, I think Ty Simpson is legitimate. I think if you had 5 guys going right now to New York for the Heisman ceremony, I think Ty would be one of those guys. I think Diego would be one of those guys right now. A lot of football to go. But back to your point, Zay, I thought the first half, this is why Alabama fans were excited about the reunion of Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer. I thought Ryan Grubb emptied the clip first 30 minutes, 24 points, 262 yards in that first half on the road. They jumped out early. Even would have been quicker if Ryan Williams doesn't drop that easy touchdown. Second half, Glenn Schumann and Kirby Smart made adjustments, and they held Alabama to no points. Very controversial call early in the fourth quarter on the 4th and 2 where they go wide to Cash Jones. You go to a white running back after Bowens was having so much success up the gut. Now,
bad move.
To Mike Bobo and Kirby's credit, they caught him off guard, and LT Overton made a great play with a finger to knock him down. If not, he scores. But I still think you should have taken the points there. Alabama played clean, only 4 penalties, no turnovers. They have yet to turn the football over, the only team in the SEC that hasn't done that. So, look, it wasn't a great second half, but Alabama found a way to get out of there with a win. So, Alabama under Kalen DeBoer knows how to win these ranked games, these big games. They've just got to figure out a way to play down the competition. I don't think, again, it'll be a problem this week because College Game Day is going to be there. Vanderbilt is number 16th nationally. They beat them last year. This is not the same situation we saw last year. So as great as this Vanderbilt story is, and I think it becomes the biggest story in college football if they pull off the upset, because if they win as a 10.5-point underdog, which, by the way, they were 23-point dogs last year in Nashville. Now it's only 10.5. I think that shows you the respect for Vanderbilt. But if they were to pull this off, they go to 6-0. And I think at that point, they're like number 6 or 7 nationally. It's like the highest we've ever seen Vanderbilt ranked. So it would be a massive story. Alabama, though, the problem last year with Vanderbilt, couldn't get them off the field. They did a really good job in that regard against Georgia. Georgia only 2 of 8 on third downs. Alabama was incredible. Kirby said it at halftime, 13 of 19 on their third down conversions. I think that will play a factor as well. But, I mean, I can't get enough of the Diego Pavia. You said that you love the a-hole and Ty Simpson hushing the crowd, but Diego, not only is he 12-6 as a starting quarterback at Vanderbilt, but he's also talking shit about Alabama and about to go on the road. So it to me is a fascinating game, but
and Johnny Manziel is going to be on the sideline in Tuscaloosa with Diego Pavia instead of in College Station with the Aggies taking on a surging Mississippi State.
Yeah, I think that shows you that maybe the Aggies aren't as receptive as Johnny maybe is to the other side.
No one wants Johnny anymore.
I never thought he would be a mentor. That is, and look.
And that's totally demented, honestly.
As good as Diego is, though, Chip, Johnny Manziel was next level special. He's, one of the top 5 quarterbacks I think I've ever seen in the SEC as far as standalone seasons. He was that good in 12, and he shut up that Alabama crowd. So Johnny was great. I don't see another performance like that from Diego Pavia, but we shall see. But it'll be a fun game. And it shows you how different the SEC and how different college football is, because the last 4 times, going back 2011, 2017, 23, and 24, on average, Alabama was a 28.5-point favorite in these matchups with Vanderbilt. And again, they're only 10. So I think it shows you where the teams are right now.
All right. So you think Vanderbilt covers?
No, I don't. I think Alabama wins the game 17-21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what? What was that score?
17 or 21. I think they win by. I think it's going to be another. I think Vanderbilt will be able to score. I think it's more like Alabama 42-24. I mean, Vanderbilt is good. Like, if you ask me where they are right now in the SEC. I mean, if Vanderbilt was playing we saw the game last year, much like we saw Vanderbilt, Alabama. If Vanderbilt was playing in Austin,
right. I think this Vanderbilt team coming to Austin November 1st, Texas better have their shit in order or.
Yeah. I am, and I don't know what, and I know you guys are really close to the program. I am fascinated to see what Sark has got coming out of this bye, because it's Arch's first road SEC start. Their defense is absolutely legit, giving up less than 8 points per game. And you're playing a Florida offense, which I am blown away. Lagway was 6-1 down the stretch last year for Billy Napier. It looked like he had saved his job for a moment. But if you take away Long Island week 1, DJ has done absolutely nothing through 3 games. And it is maybe the worst offense outside of Kentucky in the SEC. Not prepared to say it's that bad yet. But I am fascinated to see what Sark is going to do coming out of a bye, going into still one of the more difficult environments in all of college football against a defense that, in my opinion, is a top 15 defense, not as good as Texas defense, but good enough to give Arch a lot of problems. And this is one of those games where the season is completely gone if they lose. But if they win this game, they can kind of swing back the momentum, and you can sell Florida on, you guys can still have a really solid season. But if they lose this game, everything is lost. And I don't want to get bit on Florida again. I mean, Florida's 10-4 against the spread their last 14 games, but 3 of those games I've had the wrong side and been on the wrong side of Florida. So Florida catching 7 again. I hope I don't get baited here. I probably will. But I'm fascinated to see what Sark's going to unload coming off the bye.
So you think Texas covers or no?
I think Texas should. I think the right side, for whatever that's worth, is probably, I'm just talking about smart money, is probably Florida plus the points. We had Roman Harper, former Alabama great, New Orleans Saints great, SEC Network on today. And he said that, he sees a lot of flaws with Texas. He said it's not just Arch, but he also brought up the fact that it seems like Sark might be calling the game a little bit different based on some of the limitations right now with Sark. That blows me away if, in fact, that is true. I'm not good enough to break down the X's and O's, but if you basically tell a quarterback that was your 3-year starter to kick rocks to go on to the NFL because we've got, the next coming in Arch Manning, and then you've got to limit your play calling around him. That's head scratching and baffling. If in fact that is the case, do you think it is, Chip?
It was the case in the Ohio State game, and
I get that. Yeah, I mean, I can get that,
and I think it was the case. I mean, I think he went into the UTEP game absolutely determined to run the ball, and they couldn't run it on their terms. Like UTEP was twisting and stunting and doing all kinds of games up front. The offensive line was not good. And lo and behold, they couldn't just, I mean, if you look at the numbers, they ran it, 56 times in that game? I mean, he was absolutely determined to run the ball, take the game out of Arch's hands. And Arch ended up having to run in that game.
Yeah.
And really, Zay and I were talking about this earlier. If you look at the identity of the Texas offense right now, it's Arch running, not passing.
Yeah, and I think, there's certain guys that maybe you can get away with doing that. And one of those guys is, Diego Pavia to a degree. Marcel Reed, I don't think you want that right now with Arch. I see Mike G in y'all's chat is saying Texas is going to be rusty again. I'll tell you what, if Texas comes out in the offense, struggles, and I think Florida is a great defense. I don't know if Texas is going to get right offensively this year. If they're coming off a bye and they're playing a team that cannot manufacture points. If Texas was to lose this game, and I was right on my preseason prediction about undefeated Oklahoma, 2-loss Texas, I don't see how Texas gets back in a playoff conversation if they lose this game. I don't know how you guys feel, but this is a game you got to win. Got to win.
That's what I told Zay. I mean, going into this game, this is everything.
Yeah.
And I hate to put it all on Arch, but it's almost all on Arch. He needs to show that he is comfortable, that he's got this offense down. I don't care if they're playing split safety and they're putting everything on their linebackers to stop the run and the pass. Arch is a third-year player in this offense. He has got to handle it. He has got to show that he can, go on the road and move the chains.
Yeah, and this is crazy. Texas, their last 9 games, 1-8 against the spread.
Right, it's terrible.
Yeah, they have been terrible in that regard. Back to him throwing the football. They're 76 nationally throwing the football. And I didn't think
Arch red zone. They've not been good on third down.
Yeah, and I didn't think Arch was going to be the best player in college football. You guys know I talked about that. I had him down the list on SEC quarterbacks, but I didn't realize he would struggle this much, especially I thought it was going to be more struggle week 1 against Ohio State. And then when you play those 3 other teams before the bye, you really pad those numbers and you build a ton of confidence. And much like Alabama, the Georgia win's a little bit different, but Alabama really built their confidence against Louisiana Monroe, and they built their confidence against Wisconsin, really bad teams. And I think that showed going into Athens because much like Alabama, Texas has got one of the top 5 most talented rosters in all of college football. It's just got to come together. And I agree with you. The urgency's got to be there for Sark in this bunch because if they lose this game, to me, it will be really, really hard to navigate the rest of the season without a loss.
What stood out to you the most about Alabama's win at Georgia? I mean, we can talk about it's a great win. It's a great win. You ended a 33-game home winning streak, in Sanford Stadium. That's a huge win for Kalen DeBoer, and the talk of Kirby having an Alabama problem continues. Not scoring a point in the second half. I mean, what stood out to you about that game?
Well, there were 2 things, and it's kind of, we're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles today, and a lot of people think that this Eagles team's not as good. They're one of 2 undefeated teams right now. They haven't put together a full 60 minutes. Their first 30 minutes against the Rams, terrible. Second 30 minutes, second half, they were great. First half against the Bucs last week, they were great. Second half, they weren't. If Alabama can figure this out for a full 60, they're going to be really, really good. I thought it was almost like they took the air out of the football, trying to run the football, limit possessions in the second half from Georgia. So I was a little surprised with as good as that offense looked in the first half to get shut out in the second half. But I think more disturbing for Alabama is you still gave up 227 yards on the ground to Georgia. It's right at 6.9 yards per carry. And if you go back to week 1 against Florida State, I know the body language was bad. There was no energy. They got physically pushed around, but Florida State completely gashed them on the ground. And I just think this is one of those leagues that, you can go on the road and you can beat a team that's won 33 consecutive games in Athens and Georgia. But ultimately, if you can't stop the run for 12 games in this league, you're not going to win anything. So I think Kane Womack and the defense, they've got to figure that out. Alabama at the same time has got to figure out running the football. They got Jam Miller back last week. It was 16 carries, 46 yards, less than 3 yards a carry. If you go back his last 6 games, there's only been one game that he's averaged more than 3 yards a carry. I know they've got to continue to run the football, but they have got the 5th fewest runs of 10-plus yards in the FBS. And it's not an Alabama offense if you can't run the football. And I think Ryan Grubb's got to figure something out there, and I just don't know if they've got the backs to do it. So I think there's a negative coming out of the game. The positive is you win the game. 3rd down conversions were great. But the negatives are you're still getting gashed on the ground, and you didn't score a second-half point.
Yeah. From an overall standpoint, Lance, what have you noticed throughout just college football as a whole throughout this first month?
I just think the balance. And I think, again, it's reflective of Alabama being a 10-point favorite this weekend. I mean, these numbers – 2 years ago, they were a 40.5-point favorite at home against Vanderbilt. I know Diego's a big deal, but he ain't 40 points. That is massive. And I just don't think you're going to see these numbers anymore. And you're starting to hear these coaches. You heard Hugh Freeze say it last week. Lane Kiffin has said it this week. Juggernauts are dead. You're not going to get teams going 12-0 in the SEC, maybe the Big Ten, because the Big Ten at the bottom is not nearly as strong as the SEC is. But there's just a lot of balance in college football. And, what I really learned over the weekend, I was so impressed with Ole Miss. And I need to start giving Lane Kiffin a little bit more credit. I think it's a great fit for him. I'm starting to believe that Lane Kiffin to Gainesville has got some real traction. We'll see how that goes. But watching Ole Miss beat LSU this past weekend and do it really with defense, and I know LSU's offense has really struggled, only 2 of 11 on 3rd downs. Now they've said that Nussmeier's not 100% healthy. He's dealing with an abdomen situation. But Ole Miss on both sides of the ball looks really, really good. And if I was doing power rankings right now just based on the weekend, I got no problem with people saying Ole Miss is the best team in the SEC. They still have a long way to go, and I think there's a couple of losable games. But if I was a fan base right now, and again, you don't trust Ole Miss because they've never even been to Atlanta to represent for the SEC championship game. But I think based on being undefeated and looking at the remainder of the schedule, I think Ole Miss is in the best spot to get to the college football playoff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's crazy, and I did this big breakdown on Texas a third of the way through the season, and so I'm looking, hard at all these numbers and who can stop the run, who can get pressure on the quarterback, and it's kind of crazy, but Arkansas leads the SEC in quarterback pressures, and they just fired their coach.
Hey, it didn't matter last week against Notre Dame, and I might have said it here. I said it a lot of places that I did hit, but this Notre Dame defense under Chris Ash was complete garbage, and I thought I played the overs. The only thing I had at Lance's lock. It was my only 11 o'clock game, and it ends up going over, but it barely got over because second half was a graveyard. But Notre Dame put 56 on them, and then Arkansas can only muster 13 points against what was a really bad Notre Dame defense. So that didn't make any sense to me. I'm not surprised after that performance. I tweeted it out because people were, how long do you think Sam Pittman makes it? And I said, he's not going to make it 24 hours, and was dead on. He was out. I'll tell you another one to watch out for. I like Hugh Freeze. I'm going to be completely wrong on this. Coming off the bye, and by the way, I had Auburn plus the 7, so they ended up covering. They shouldn't have. If you don't get that turnover against Texas A&M, Xavier Atkins takes it 74 yards, and then Jackson Arnold punches it in. That game should have been 20-3 at that point, and that game is absolutely over. Auburn's offense, much like Florida's offense, is garbage right now, and you've got one of the most elite receivers that nobody knows about because you can't get him the ball in Cam Coleman. But my prediction was going to be if Auburn coming off the bye next week against Georgia in Jordan-Hare gets blown out, I think Hugh Freeze will be in the same situation as Sam Pittman, and he won't make it out of Sunday. He won't make it out of the weekend.
Yeah,
so
Hugh Freeze, he had that look on his face at the end of that game that was, I'm toast.
Yeah. And I think he is, even Chip, even if they were to beat Georgia. And I don't see that happening because Georgia's owned them in that rivalry. If they were even to beat Georgia, you start to look at this schedule and there's just more losses that are going to pile up. And I think there's a better chance that Auburn doesn't get to a bowl than Auburn having a winning record at this point. And what's going to happen there is you've got Hugh in 3 years never had a winning record and you're getting paid top 20 money. And it didn't make any sense to me. I thought it was a slam dunk hire. I thought it was perfect. You know, a guy that beat Nick Saban multiple times at Ole Miss, a program that, you know, obviously has a lot of passion. It's a dysfunctional program. Auburn's a very, very, it's kind of head scratching what goes on down there and how many coaches they've been through. And it just doesn't ever seem to really work out for them since 2010 and 2013, but one to watch.
We talked about this, Lance. The coach is tied to the quarterback. Charlie Strong got the Texas job because of Teddy Bridgewater. Hugh Freeze bet on Peyton Thorne and Jackson Arnold, and he's going to get fired.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's –
well, and to that, I mean, you know, Clark Lee's going to get offers. Like, even if everything falls
apart. It's all Diego Pavia.
Yep.
It's all Diego Pavia.
Yep.
We can agree on that, right?
Yeah, and look, I think Lane Kiffin's backdoored his way into a great player in Trinidad Chambliss.
Who's your Trinidaddy?
Yeah, you go out, and by the way, he's another one of those 5 that would be in New York for me right now.
Yes,
with. I think he's that good. But you know, you go out and you try to get a experienced backup for Austin Simmons, and you ultimately find maybe the hidden gem of this past class.
And you know what? It's guys who have nothing. Trinidad Chambliss has nothing. The guy is scary because he doesn't have anything to lose. Diego Pavia doesn't have anything to lose. Arch Manning has been put up on this pedestal. He's been anointed as the next. The guy played against 2A clown football in New Orleans, and now he's getting adversity. Diego Pavia was spit on, told, you're not any good. You're not good enough to play anywhere except New Mexico Military Institute and New Mexico State.
I know you guys.
Big stage?
I know you guys are the ones that ask me questions, but I do want to flip it around because I know we're all friends and I'm able to do this. But I do want both of y'all's opinions. I know your listeners, viewers are hoping this is the week that it pops for this Texas offense. But do you guys believe it will pop? And like, do you think moving forward, does Texas still have an opportunity to be an elite team? Elite defense.
Well, it has to pop starting Saturday. This is a must win. You got a team that's ready to turn on its coach. I mean, I came into the show today saying half these fans are going to the game because it's Texas and it's going to be raining and their wives are going to be like, we don't have to go. And then Arch Manning in this Texas offense needs to give them a reason at halftime to be like, we're going home. And if they don't, and if it turns into some, field goal game in the fourth quarter, it's going to feel like a loss, even if they win. And that's where, this thing needs to start doing that on offense because this defense is legit.
Oh, yeah. I think even if they win, and Zay, I do want your opinion. I think even if they win, I think it's going to be like a 17-10 win.
That's what I predicted.
Yeah. So what do you think, Zay? You think it flips?
I'm very skeptical on that. This is a very undisciplined team. They're like 126 when it comes to penalties. Lance, there's only 130-some teams in college football. So that's awful. They're 109 when it comes to third down efficiency. So that's not good either. You're banking on the injuries that Florida has. And hopefully once the fourth quarter comes around, they can be worn down a little bit. But this offensive line, they're up and down. Pass blocking, they're all right. They're pretty solid there. Run blocking, they haven't been good. The starting running back, Trevian Wisner, he might be back. CJ Baxter most likely won't be able to play. So you got your third, fourth, and fifth running backs getting a lot of reps these last few weeks. And those guys, a lot of talent, but not much experience. So it shows. So this offense, man, they got a lot going against them. And I don't know. I don't know if this is the week. Hopefully from the bye, but yeah, I think it's going to be a very low scoring, especially with the weather, it being a little ugly outside. I think that's going to affect both offenses, and you're going to see it.
It would just be hard to believe. Like, Texas is already done the first week of October if they lose this game. You know, Notre Dame, although I think they're going to win out and I think they're going to be very much in the conversation, a lot of people believe they're already done. You know, the 2 losses to start the season. I don't know, man. It's just a lot of football to play. I think there's a lot of losses coming up. I think at the end of the year, and I think I've said this before with you guys, I think we're going to have a handful of 10-2s. We're going to have a handful of 9-3s. And
who's the best team in college football right now, Lance?
It's Ohio State, I believe. And so if I'm Texas, I do take a little bit out of that. Like, you know, people can go back and they can talk about last week in Ohio State and only winning the game 24-6. Washington is solid. And to be able to do what they did to that Washington offense, I mean, they had 6 sacks. They're still trying to figure out the run game a little bit. And I think Bo Jackson's going to be really good, the true freshman. They don't have Judkins and Henderson like they had last year. I think Julian Sayan's going to end up being maybe not the leader Will Howard was, but I think talent-wise he's going to be better. But they've only allowed a total of 22 points through 4 games. I mean, that defense is crazy good. Even Jim Knowles leaving and going to Penn State, Matt Patricia taking it over. I mean, if I had to say there's one elite team, I would lean Ohio State. I think Oregon, just based on what they were able to do in Happy Valley, would be right there. But I don't think there's an elite team. But I would say Ohio State's the best right now. So if I'm Texas, I try to sell myself on, okay, you know, we went on the road, we lost by 7, we played awful, so we can get this thing flipped around. But you know, Arch making his first road start. If you thought Columbus, I'm telling you, I've never been to the Horseshoe. I've watched a ton of games there, but an 11 o'clock kick in the Horseshoe and a 2:30 kick in the Swamp, to me, that's kind of equivalent. I just wonder what the Florida fan base is going to be like. Are they still going to be like me saying, hey, if we can win this game, we still have a lot to play for? If they show up in full force, it's going to be really, really difficult atmosphere for Arch.
Yeah. All right, tell everybody what's going on at lanceslock.com.
Hey, we're coming off another great weekend in football. So right now in the Major League Baseball postseason, we're 3-3. So, you know, we're kind of hovering right there. But last week in college football, we were 7-4. We were 4-2 in the NFL, so another winning week in both. We continue the winning tonight. We have 1 play up in college football. We stayed away from the 49ers and Rams. Number fluctuated too much. It opened at 3. It's all the way to 8.5 because of the injuries of the 49ers. But we will have much more NFL action up and available this weekend. And to let you guys know, the first 4 weeks of the NFL, 3 of the Sundays, we've been a perfect 3-0 on 3 different Sundays. So we have been killing it in the NFL. We're winning in college football. Everything is available. You can buy a daily package. You can buy the whole month for $100. It's all available. Free play is available as well in lanceslock.com.
LT, you're the best. Let's do it again next week.
I appreciate it, guys. You guys enjoy
the Diego Pavia, Johnny Manziel in Tuscaloosa effect.
Man, I can you imagine if next week we're talking Texas has lost to Florida and Alabama's lost to Vanderbilt?
Oh, Vanderbilt becomes the favorite to win the SEC.
Vanderbilt, Indiana for the national championship. What kind of odds can you get on that?
Oh,
hell no, Lance. Hell no.
Hey,
Blue Bloods be damned.
And you've got Fernando versus Diego for a national championship.
Fernando versus Diego.
Okay,
Saddle up, kids.
Y'all be good.
All right, LT. Appreciate you. All right. From one great guest to another. We love this. We've got Drew Fabian. It's the executive director of the Panini Senior Bowl.
Thank you.
By God. Let's get that right. Appreciate Drew joining us each Thursday, 3:00. And Drew, I mean, we were just talking to Lance Taylor.
Yeah, I think you need to put me on with him someday.
Yeah. Hey, LT is right there in Birmingham. He used to work with Paul Feinbaum. Now he's got he and Ryan Brown and Jim Dunaway do their next round live right there in the headquarters of the SEC. But Diego Pavia, Drew, this guy, I mean, you were with the Cowboys when Johnny Manziel was coming out, and everyone was like, is Jerry going to take Johnny Manziel? And now Diego's got Johnny Manziel coming to Tuscaloosa this weekend. It's his idol. And Johnny's like, yeah, I'll come. I mean, what do we make of Diego Pavia?
Well, I can tell you, I met him at the SEC Media Day. Love the kid. You can tell he's got an edge to him. He's serious about ball. He loves ball. And, I always ask this question, and it's kind of rang true throughout with quarterbacks. I always say and I'd ask the coaches this, when he walks into the room, does everybody know he's the Q? Right? And one time, coach said, yeah, you do. And 10 years later, the same coach, I asked him about another quarterback, and I said, same question. He goes, nah, can't tell. And guess what? When you walk into the room, it's his room. And I went up there in August and visited with them, and Coach Lee asked me to speak at the team up there. First thing you got to understand is Vanderbilt used to look like a damn MAC team in past years. Okay?
Yeah.
When you saw them on the field, you went, ugh, kind of short. They're a little dumpy looking. They don't look like Division I athletes. Well, they look like a real football team now. They do. And Coach Lee's done a great job with them. And the best thing they did was bring Pavia in, with his tight end, and his ex-coach, along with him, because he's changed the culture of that place. Because, he's one of those guys that if you don't believe, nobody else will believe. And he believes. He believes he can beat anybody at any time. He really does. Now, is he as athletic as Johnny? No. But he is just that polarizing as Johnny was. He was. So, like I said, I really enjoyed the kid. I really did. And, kudos to him. He's one of those, hey, he talks the talk, but he also walks the walk too now.
He doesn't fit anything the NFL wants.
No.
But from a measurable standpoint, from a, no.
And trust me, he is not 5'11". There's no way. I'm 5'09" dead, measured. And he is barely taller than me, and he's a bulldog. I'm impressed with the way he plays. I'm impressed with the way he approaches himself. And again, if he's going to be in the NFL, it's going to have to be somebody that's very comfortable with creating an offense tailored towards him, not him plugging into an offense where they go, okay, we got to have a 5-step drop guy, that's play action guy, no, you got to actually tailor an offense to him. Now, and again, the lucky for him that Kyler Murray's been successful, Baker Mayfield's been successful, Russell Wilson's been successful, Drew Brees has been successful. The whole, you got to be 6'2", you got to play for 3 years. All those principles are kind of out the door now, depending on a team's philosophy. To me, that's where I think it starts. If your head coach and your coordinator is comfortable with that, and your ownership is comfortable with that, run on down the road. But here's the other thing. If you're going to run that guy about 14, 15 times a game, you better have 2 more just like him, because they're not going to last. Small guys wear down, big guys don't get any smaller, and big dudes hurt really badly, and I throw this out at you too. Did RG3 get hurt throwing the ball or getting sacked, or did he get hurt running the football?
Right.
Yeah.
And who did they have to back him up?
Kirk Cousins.
Different animal, different offense, man. Okay, I'm gonna give you another one right now. Lamar Jackson. Who's the backup? Cooper Rush. Totally different animal. So wouldn't you say when you're roster building, you ought to have 2 of the same animal or 3 of the same animals? But you may not be able to pay them, because you're spending $42 million on the first one. Are you going to have to go do some, bargain shopping for those other 2? Probably, but that's just my process. That would be my roster building principles in my head. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? and how are we going to pay for it? But right now, Pavia's got, interest from people because at least people have opened the door for him.
Yeah. This is a huge week for him.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Drew, when you look at week 5 this past weekend, what did you notice? Obviously, Oregon, big win for them, beating Penn State, Alabama, huge win for them, beating Georgia. But just overall, players, coaches, teams, what was your takeaway from week 5?
That I don't think I've ever seen two quarterbacks go at each other where their total offense added up to almost 1,000 yards. And I'm talking about Kansas and Cincinnati. And you want to talk about two great performances by two quarterbacks against each other? Now, again, everybody says, well, defense optional. No, I mean, well, defenses weren't that bad. They just had that good a performance. That stuck out. Drew Aller handling pressure, as I said. I mean, I wanted to see that. Did he handle it real well? No, not really. So he's got to bounce back. There's some really good games. There were some really good, game plans. I thought Lane Kiffin had an incredible game plan against LSU. I mean, they had to defend all 11, which is not easy as a defensive coordinator. And the Chambliss kid, yeah, there's a reason why he's successful, but he's also small in stature too, just like Diego. But again, if you're winning, who cares? There hadn't been like elite defensive performances other than maybe 2 to 3 teams. And that's what I've noticed. And I think maybe that's because of depth issues, because of this quote NIL era, that there are not a lot of dudes that are rolling 9 defensive linemen and, and 7 or 8 secondary guys and 4 or 5 linebackers in a game. That's why I think some of these teams are a little bit deeper. Some of them are playing faster than others. Some of them have more draft picks than others. So those are a couple things that I've been impressed with. Hey, there's been some offenses that can blow it up. There's been some really good game plans put out there, but to me, there's only really a couple of really elite defenses out there, and that's it. To me, I mean, there's probably maybe 2.
So when you're looking at like this week's games, we've got Miami at Florida State. We've got,
Go ahead, Texas or Florida. I know where we're going. Go ahead.
Texas at Florida. Iowa State at Cincinnati. You brought up Cincinnati. Clemson at North Carolina. Like, where's your eyeballs on a weekend like this coming up? How do you approach it? I know you've got multi-vision. You can watch 4 games at once. Take us through your process going into a college football weekend like this weekend.
Well, like you said, I'm going to pick out the games that I see the most prospects that are going to be in that game through what we've graded. Don't get me wrong, I'll still try to peek at other ones too when I can't get a chance, because you never know, somebody could fly, somebody could show up, and then I should be a spokesman for flipping YouTube TV and like Pro Football Focus, because it makes my life a hell of a lot easier. I'm interested in the bigger games, but I'm also, I'm going to sit there and pick out the 4 best in each time period, and I'm going to stick with those, and I'm just going to rotate the audio. I'm going to take notes just like I have in the past. And again, Texas going to Florida, that's big, because hate to break it to you, but in all my years in college football, the Swamp is the second loudest place I've ever been to in my entire life. And it's not even close to some of them, and you'd never guess what the number 1 is ever.
What?
Oregon.
I hear that.
You can sit right next to somebody and they cannot hear you even speak. It's like the sound just does not leave the building. It's built into like 2 hills, and it's the loudest thing I've ever seen. I mean, loudest people. I mean, I don't know how you'd make any verbal checks at all there. And Florida's pretty close to the same thing. But at Florida, they're also on top of you. I mean, when you're in a visitor's bench, they're on top of you. So they make it hard on you that way too. So for Texas to go in there, they're going to have their hands full. They really will.
I mean, this is a big game for Arch Manning.
Absolutely. Because I think it's a big game for Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, big time.
Yeah.
You know, where they're deficient is, I think they're a little bit deficient in the offensive line. And I think Lagway's been taking too many hits, and he's trying to press too hard, and you know, and he's under pressure a lot. Guys got to make plays for him. They do. They're injured. They've got a few injuries on defense that will help Texas because Banks not playing is going to be a huge help to them.
Caleb Banks, their defensive tackle.
Yeah, and I think he's out for the year. That's at least what we heard. You know, and again, you know, the Iowa State game, people don't know how intriguing that is, but Rocco Beck's a pretty good little player, you know, and Sorsby, he's pretty good too. I mean, and they always say Big 12 doesn't play really good defense. Well, Iowa State's played pretty good defense for about the last 6 or 7 years, you know, and it doesn't matter who they're playing against because it's, you know, Jim Haycock's 3-3-5, and it's not easy to run against. It's not easy to, I mean, because you're really playing 5 secondary guys all day long. And it's different than what TCU used to do with Patterson's 3-3-5. So, but yeah, that's my approach. I mean, I'm not going to change it. It's going to stay the same, and I'm just going to roll on down the road, you know. Yeah. And I want to see what they're going to do with Cole Klubnik too, you know, because they need to run the football, establish a run game to take some pressure off of him and they got to make some more plays around him. And again, they got to play better defense too.
Drew, who's the most underrated quarterback in college football right now that not too many people are talking about, but low key is lighting it up the first month of the season?
Sawyer Robertson.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's like at maybe 14 touchdowns now, 2 picks or something like that, averaging around 450 a game. You know, and put it this way, they're not playing great defense, but again, they're outscoring some folks now, and it's because of him. And
17 touchdowns.
Pardon?
17 touchdown passes.
Okay, 17 what? 2 picks?
It's the nation.
Yeah.
Yes, 1,700 yards through the air. Wow.
Yeah, and put it this way, are you hearing about him?
Not really.
No, you're not. You know, and I told you this. I mean, I was talking about Mendoza in August. You know, I knew that he was going to do something just because of what he did to Auburn last year. Because Auburn, tell people this right now, Auburn's really good on defense. They're really good on defense. And last year with Cal, I mean, you want to talk about being surrounded by just some guys. I mean, he made those plays with lesser people. And now he's got better people because, like the 2 receivers, I think it's Surratt and Cooper, they're making plays for him up there too now. And I don't think he's thrown a pick. I mean, I really don't. I mean, I may be wrong, but I do not think he's thrown an interception all year.
I think you're right.
Maybe.
16 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions.
Yeah. So, I mean, but now all of a sudden, you know, he's picking up steam now, isn't he? You know, because some guys have underperformed and some have overperformed. I mean, some expectations haven't been met, right? I mean, that's just the way this is. I mean,
one interception. Sorry, one interception.
Okay, one interception. Okay, my bad. Sorry about that.
But he's 6'5", 225. I mean, he looks like what you want.
Prototype. Yep.
Yeah.
Prototype.
In the NFL.
You're gonna put it this way: NFL coaches are going to take that guy over the 5'10", 5'11" guy every day of the week.
Yeah.
Every day, because then they don't have to. Because again, when you're short and the pocket, you know, pushes up into your face, you got nowhere to climb, and you can't see over top of anybody, and you're just hoping you're going to get a window to see, and you're just hoping that the guys are exactly where they're supposed to be, because a lot of times you're throwing blind.
Right.
I mean, you are. I mean, and there's a reason why Kyler Murray is already 7.5 yards deep in the shotgun already, and then he takes 3-step drops from there. You know. So he's just buying himself more time, and he's also buying himself, you know, more to where he can see down the field.
Drew,
now,
when
you willing to do that with everybody?
Right.
You willing to change your offense for that? I mean, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to change your offense for Mendoza if you're pro style. You don't. Sorry, go ahead, Chip.
Well, when you watch Arch Manning in the pocket, one of the things I do like is his ability to step up and slide, and he's got some good pocket awareness. but his mechanics break down sometimes. What are you seeing, when you see Arch Manning in the pocket?
He's just not comfortable yet. I mean, we kind of discussed it last week. I mean, the more he plays and the more he gets the understanding of the system, he's going to be so much better off. And the game will slow down because, again, it's just like in the NFL when they said, hey, the speed changes in the playoffs. It did. Well, guess what? He was playing against, guys last year that either they were kicking the heck out of or they dang sure had scheduled to kick the heck out of him. And he was processing just fine. But then all of a sudden, when it's speeded up, I mean, that's why his mechanics start breaking down because I'll bet you when you look at his feet, when he's clean, I bet you there's no problem with his mechanics in his lower. But when the pocket starts breaking down, he sees flashes. I mean, then the feet go, then the shoulders go, then the platform of the balls. I mean, the release point changes. I mean, it's just a comfort level, and again, that's why experience matters. And he'll come around, and Sark will do a great job game planning for what he does do. I mean, and he'll slowly push him to different levels. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And guess what? We're an impatient world, right? Yeah. So, and guess what? Playing quarterback, hate to break it to a lot of people out there, isn't easy. Isn't easy. 45 seconds, right? Total, correct? Get the huddle call made, right? Get out the line of scrimmage. Check the defense, right? You may have to change the protection, right? You may be killing to another play, right? You may be having ID to Mike again, then you change it to protection again. Okay, now you're going to rethink in your head, okay, now what the hell was a play, right? Okay, what was the snap count, okay? And again, you're doing this all in like around 45 seconds total from the play end to play start, right? Okay, how many people can do that? Not many.
Yeah.
So anybody thinks they can play the position that hadn't played the position, good luck to you because you couldn't.
Yeah. Drew, we always hear just everything that you just mentioned goes into this, but those college quarterbacks that have all those starts under their belt, like that magic numbers, 33 years, that's what the scouts love to see because it makes them feel more comfortable when they go to draft them. What exceptions have you seen of that, where guys maybe not had all those snaps during their collegiate career, but have gone on to do big things on the NFL level?
Well, I'm going to go the other way, Zay.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you one that actually supports everything that the NFL is actually talking about. Trey Lance.
Yeah.
I mean, he never had a chance. I mean, because again, how many games did he play in? 12. I mean, so. And again, at North Dakota State, I'm not dogging out North Dakota State at all. But again, you want to talk about a speed change from North Dakota State to the NFL? Yeah, huge change. So, I mean, the guys with limiteds, I mean, I'd have to think about that a little bit. I mean, I'm not really prepared for that, but I'd be glad to answer that next week when I actually think about it a little bit. But I never went the other way because I'm going to tell you this. My job was to punch holes in dudes, okay? My job was to tell somebody no, okay? That guess what? These traits here are what makes you play in the NFL, and no, these are the traits that say you cannot, okay? So trust me, I can find something wrong with almost every player out there, right? But now it's the number of those red flags and the number of those issues that keep you from playing in the NFL. It may be just one, hey, Joe Thomas struggled with speed to power like 3 times, right? In college. That was it. Other than that, I was going like, can't punch a hole in anything else he does, right? And he probably gave up maybe 10 sacks lifetime.
Yeah.
So it's like,
well, a guy like Anthony Richardson, who didn't play a lot, and then he gets taken top 5, and it looks like his career is coming to an end, or I don't know if he can be a backup somewhere. Maybe he's the right backup for Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. I don't know, but
it could be, but it could also end up like Geno Smith, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it could end up like Sam Darnold, right? I mean, you never know. And again, he is a perfect argument for what we were just talking about. I mean, where's the experience? Really, where's the experience? And then, you go from probably a pretty simplistic offense to a very, very, complicated, high verbiage, offense. And they are. Most offenses are high verbiage in the NFL. And, it's hard for those guys to deal with that because sometimes it's hand signals, sometimes it's cities, sometimes it's 2 words. They're not saying, 3.5 sentences for one play call like they do in the NFL. So, go look at the tags from like John Gruden's offense about how long those were.
I was
just thinking of Gruden.
I was just going to ask you about John Gruden because
John Gruden. John Gruden.
You spent time at Tennessee. That's where he met his wife. It sounds like
we were GAs there. How about this? 3 years apart.
Wow.
You and Gruden.
Yeah.
Well, we know he wants back in to the coaching game, and it sounds like he wants back in at the college level. Do you see him getting back in this cycle?
I don't know. It probably depends on, if somebody's interested in him and if he's actually interested in that school. John's got the enthusiasm to do the job. Trust me now. You want to talk about go monkey now. He rolls. He's energetic. He works his ass off. And, the funny thing is, I bet you'd be a hell of a recruiter too. And you need that, in college. Would he tolerate some of the antics from some of the parents? No. Because he's still got some old school blood in him, but again, it's probably got to be the right job for him too, because there's some jobs out there that aren't very good jobs. And people say, oh, that's a great, no, it's not. There's some jobs that just are not very good jobs, and they haven't been good jobs for years for reasons, and he's going to look into that. But I would say, yeah, he would be successful, but I think it would have to be, put it this way, you'd have to have the right resources. You can't put John Gruden with an under-resourced team. You can't. It's not fair. It's not fair to anybody. But there are places that are under-resourced and that have higher expectations than what their resources actually equate to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Drew, this Miami at Florida State game is very interesting. Yeah. Carson Beck, your thoughts on him? Obviously, such a high prospect last year at Georgia. Didn't work out, got hurt in that SEC championship game. Now he's down there at Coral Gables. Your thoughts on him and this game as a whole?
Oh, I really like the way he's playing. The one thing I can tell you this too is he's got some weapons around him, and those weapons are actually making plays for him. Correct me if I'm wrong. Last year, I think they led the nation in drops while he was playing quarterback at Georgia.
Yeah.
They're making plays for him down there, and I think they're pretty good at the skill spots. I also think the offensive coordinator is really playing to his skill sets, his skill set. And I think that they probably got together and said, "Hey, what are you more comfortable with? What suits you? What do you like?" And they kind of tailored it around him a little bit more than I think, kind of pushing, him into some areas where he wasn't comfortable with. The other thing is, they're playing good complementary football because that is one damn good defense. They're big time, and their front seven is wicked good. I can tell you right now, there's the top 4 guys right now in the front, they're all draftable, every single one of them. And there's probably 3 more that rotate in that are draftable too. The linebackers are draftable. The safeties are draftable. The corners are draftable. Mario has done an incredible job recruiting down there. And the one thing when you watch, and again, I'm a defensive coach, at heart, when you stop where that ball's tackled, look how many bodies are around the ball. Miami's playing fast on defense. And put it this way, they're going to come in really confident, and Florida State's going to have to, they're kind of questioning themselves right now, and we'll see, how they do. But I'd be willing to bet you Gus Malzahn has about 6 or 7 new wrinkles that he's going to throw at Miami's defense. And I bet you it's going to be something against counter flows because they flow really quickly. And he's going to have to negate that some way. You're going to see a lot of probably hit screens and bubbles. You're probably going to see a lot of counters. You're probably going to see a lot of boots and waggles, and he's got to slow them down, because if he even thinks about dropping back with those 4 jokers, I mean, Messidor and Bain are vicious on the edges.
I was just going to ask you.
Yeah.
Is Ruben Bain the best defensive player in the country?
You know, I'd say right now, the way he's playing, but again, how much time or how many play calls do you think are actually thrown at Caleb Downs now? They're not attacking him at all.
Right.
And there's a reason. You know, they're going like, okay, that middle of the field there, that post, that's a dead issue. You know, so let's not even try. So,
and that's huge.
Yeah, huge. I mean, you're
giving up all the routes between the hashes. You're giving up a ton.
Yeah, and see, Ruben's involved in every snap. He can be disruptive in every snap. The only time that the Downs can be disruptive is coming down, capping a tackle, or in coverage. And in coverage, guess what? You don't see any balls. I mean, I'm just digging them up. I'm going like, there's no highlights because there's nobody throwing it there. I mean, so, you know, again, Caleb's a hell of a player. I mean, and he's a junior. I mean, he's not eligible for our game, unless he declares. Ruben's the same way. I mean, but again, Messidor, I know well. I spent some time with the kid, love the kid. And he has increased his stock immensely.
Missouri, Drew. Their numbers are like, wow. I mean, what are you seeing from them? And because their defense, I mean, it sure looks like James Franklin picked the wrong quarterback, because you got Perbula playing at a high level at quarterback for them. And could Missouri be the team to beat?
I mean, here's what you're forgetting. There's a little little running back that they got from like Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah, Ahmad Hardy.
And, when you can run the ball that effectively, it's pretty easy to throw the football. It really is, because you've now drawn the linebackers and the safeties up into the box, and now you're one-on-one on the outsides. And the other part about Bo Perbula, I mean, he's really, really athletic. I mean, he's a dual threat, and he's not small. He's got a good arm strength. He's been accurate. Again, Coach Drinkowitz has done a hell of a job, putting game plans together to highlight those guys, and they can also stretch you vertically too. So, defensing them is not going to be easy for anybody. And defensively, they play good. They have for, even when, Baker was there with Blake. I mean, whoever took over for him, I'm sure was a guy that was on staff with him that, probably kept the same front, kept the same calls, and kept everybody comfortable. But the other thing is they've done a really good job in the portal. They really have. I mean, Josiah Trotter, Jeremiah's son, I had at West Virginia, he's a player, right? The running back, he's a player. So they chose well and they spent well. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Last one for me, Drew. Going back to Texas a little bit.
Why am I not surprised?
I know, right? Your thoughts on Ethan Burke, defensive lineman, edge rusher for Texas. One of those guys, just, measurements wise, it's all there. But again, I don't think he gets the reps or the love that he deserves. Your thoughts on him and why that maybe could be?
I think they're trying to rotate a lot of players. I mean, because quite honestly, Trey Moore may be their best rusher, and he's not rushing very often. He's not playing but maybe 25, 30 snaps a game. And when you look at that front, it seems like they're trying to keep everybody fresh. And again, if you're not in sub downs, it's hard to manufacture a rush when you're playing head up on somebody. You got to be playing edges. You got to be working half a man. And we always used to say when we're in a 3-4 with Parcells and the Cowboys, like Canty and I'm trying to think of the other Spears, Canty and Spears, right? Well, when we're base downs, they're trying to rush out of a 4-eye inside of a tackle, and they're trying to get outside of a tackle, right? It's hard to manufacture a rush out of a base technique. So, but now all of a sudden it goes to a sub down. And then you put those two guys, put Ratliff in the shade, you put Canty in a 3, put Anthony Spencer and DeMarcus Ware on the edges. Now you got a chance. But are those guys getting those chances? That's what you got to look at when you're asking yourself, hey, is there a reason why? And that's what I'm trying to find out too. And sometimes you can just look at the snap counts and just go, okay, this guy's playing 25, this guy's playing 30, this guy's playing 30, this guy's playing 20, and it shows you that, hey, there's 8 or 9 guys that they're rolling, and are they rolling them on sub downs? Are they taking them out on sub downs? Does he have opportunities in sub downs? Does that make sense, Zay? Because that's the first thing I would look at. I would say, okay, how many times is he in on a sub down? Right?
Yeah.
Because those are your rush opportunities.
Yeah, he's got length. He's got like this 83-inch wingspan, which
don't care
is kind of Max Crosby like, but no one has the motor like
wingspan. Don't care about wingspan.
We don't care. We don't care about wingspan.
Arm length. Okay.
Arm length.
I don't care how far you are this way. I care about how far I can keep away from somebody or get to somebody. Okay?
That long arm rush.
Correct. Or as an offensive tackle. How about this one? What do you think, and this was like 4 years ago, what do you think the average length of an offensive left tackle is in the NFL?
36.
No, 34. That's average. Okay? That's average. Okay? So that's big. Now, if you're past that, plus. If you're under that, guys that have been under that automatically have trouble because they start leaning in with their head, because they can't stay back and actually extend. The guys are getting into their chest too early. So that's why it's so important. So that's why they end up playing guard, or they even get bumped down to center sometimes, because if you're really short armed, a lot of times you're playing center. A lot of times. So, but no, I don't care about wingspan. Come on, man. That's big for me about wingspan. Don't match defense. I mean, I never sat there and went, "Hey," and here's the other thing. This is a quick little trick for you. When
I love
you
these.
look at wingspan, the normal human. Okay, I'm not talking about the 6'9" flipping point guard at Michigan State or whatever. Your wingspan is normally within an inch or an inch and a half of your height. Little tidbit for you.
There you go.
So, again, I goes, 72 inches. Hey, I know he's 6 foot tall.
Well, your 2:30 games this weekend.
Yeah.
You got Texas at Florida, Vanderbilt at Alabama, Boise at Notre Dame, Syracuse at SMU.
Nope.
Okay. You're all about Texas and Florida.
Yeah. In that time, well, in the other one too,
Yeah.
But the last two, Boise and Notre Dame. I mean, I saw enough of Notre Dame last week. I mean, and again, I could probably spend time on some other games. I'm sure there's some other ones that are at that time too.
Yeah.
Yeah, my last one, Drew. What you think about A&M?
I like what they're doing. I really do. And they made sure they affected the quarterback, but they also took Coleman out of the game, totally out of the game. And all they did is doubling almost the whole entire day, and they made the quarterback hold the ball, so they got in people's faces. They doubled people up. They got after the passer, and they're still running the ball effectively because, Le'Veon Moss has been playing pretty damn well. Again, like I said, Auburn's pretty good on defense now. I mean, you wish they could run the ball better, Auburn. You wish they were more productive throwing it because they're probably a top 5 defense, across the board. They really do. They really do a good job.
Yeah, it's interesting. The top, according to Pro Football Focus, the top teams in terms of quarterback pressures in the SEC are Arkansas, number 1, 95, Vanderbilt, 94, Missouri, 93, Tennessee, 92, LSU, 90, South Carolina, 86, OU, 82, Auburn, 82, Ole Miss, 80, Mississippi State, 78, A&M, 72, Texas, 63, and then Bama is at 49, and Georgia's at 46, and Florida's at 34 quarterback pressures.
Yeah.
That stuff matters, doesn't it?
Yeah. And the funny thing was before the Wisconsin game, Alabama had not had a sack with their defensive front. had not, and the funny thing is not funny, but they were doing a lot of drop 8. And I think they started to get away from that and going with 4 and 5, because again, if you affect the quarterback, the coverage does not have to be as good. Bottom line, people don't understand that, when you get pass breakups, when you get, plays on the ball, it's usually because the quarterback is under some kind of duress or getting hurried. Because if you give them all day, most of them will pick your ass apart. Now in drop 8, it's like bend, and and it's just, if you want to play defense that way, that's fine. But I'd rather bleed fast, than bleed slow.
Yeah.
And I'd rather go after somebody. And and Bob Stoops told me this years ago when he was with Spurrier, when he first went down to Florida. He was like, Spurrier just told me, he said, Bob, he says, let's just make this real easy. He said, either you give up a score in a minute and a half, right? Or he says, you give me a 3 and out. He said, I want more possessions, right? So Coach Stoops just got after everybody's ass. And guess what? They gave up some big ones, but they also got a lot of turnovers too. So, and guess what? Spurrier's like, hey, I got 3 more possessions than everybody else does. And that's what he wanted. So, again, and again, with your grading on pressure with PFF, what is that? Is that really hurries? Is that hurries plus sacks? Is that, are they affecting the quarterback? Is it an incompletion because of it? You see what I'm saying? There's a lot that goes into that.
There's more metrics.
Yeah. And I always said that, hey, if I were coordinating against a quarterback, the one thing I wanted to make sure I did is get him off of his damn spot. If I can get him off of his spot, it affects him. Because if he's climbing, whether he's trying to escape, he's got to change his shoulder angle. He's got to change everything he does to throw the ball, because there ain't a lot of Pat Mahomes around, okay, that can do that crazy thing, here and there and everywhere. Not a lot of dudes can do that. So that was the biggest thing. But again, your PFF data, great, but how is it pulled? How's it pulled together? Because when you said Oklahoma was like 3/4 of the way down there,
82. So there are 13 quarterback pressures behind the first place.
Okay, well, put it this way. Don't say that to Auburn.
Yeah.
Because they were in his face all day long. Yeah. What, 9 total sacks or something like that?
Right.
So, yeah, you're affecting him, but where's that data come from? What did it come from? That's the first thing I would ask.
Well, that's the first thing we're going to talk about next week, because it'll be Red River Shootout week.
Gotcha.
And we'll be talking about either 4-1 Texas or 3-2, 4-1 Texas against undefeated Oklahoma.
Yeah. So. And put it this way, Alabama's a tough place to play, but like I told you, the swamp is really hard to play. It's really hard to play. It's an awful. And hey, they're lucky it's not a night game, because you get them lubed up all day long, it's even worse. So again.
Well, I've been told I got to go to Spurrier's at Celebration Point in Gainesville before the game, so I'm going to Spurrier's.
I think you should. I heard the memorabilia is flipping incredible.
Yeah.
I heard
so I'm excited.
Almost everything. And that's really
it's a
cool.
museum.
Yeah. So you should. Love the old ball coach. I really do.
He's one of a kind.
Some of the things he'd say. Hey, being at Tennessee like I was, and him being from Tennessee.
Can't spell citrus without UT.
He was always picking Big Orange in the ass somehow, some way,
Oh my God. He nicknamed Mac and Watson Brown the Lose Brothers.
Yeah.
When he was at Duke and Mac was at Carolina.
You can't spell citrus without UT.
Yeah. Oh my God. He said, he said Mac Brown's teams have a drug problem. They get drug up and down the field. He got under Mac's skin.
Well, he got under a lot of people's skin, and the other thing he did is kicked a lot of people's asses too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was lucky enough to go 2-1 against him. So I was pretty happy.
You'll take that.
Yeah, I take that every day. But I tell them, it was funny. It was 2 coaches from at Tulane, and one from Alabama and one was from Florida, right? And I said I was 2-1 against Florida, and the other one goes, "Well, how was it against Alabama?" I says, "Over."
Hey.
And I'll give you a quick one. Johnny Majors did a Thursday night reminders every Thursday night, and we were like, I think we were 5 in the country, and Florida was 3 in the country, right? And at the end, he was like, "Remember this?" And he said, "One more damn thing." And he put up his finger. His fingers were broken up pretty good because he played and everything. He goes, "I want to remind you guys of something." He says, "In the back of your minds," he said, "don't forget about them red shirt some bitches." And I'm going like, "We're going to Florida to play the 3rd-ranked team in the country," and he's already talking about Alabama. This was 3 weeks from then.
I love it.
So you can tell how obsessed Tennessee is with Alabama.
Yeah.
It's real. 3rd week of October. So
Well, Drew, you're the best. We've kept you way too long, but we love it. We can't wait to do it again next week. Thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, appreciate it. You guys have a
Appreciate
good
you.
day. See you, Zay. See you, Chip.
All right. Drew Fabianich, Executive Director of the Panini Senior Bowl. That's good stuff right there, Zay.
Great stuff. The game that Drew be spitting, man, is different. It's one of a kind. And the way he breaks things down, man, yeah, special.
Yeah. All right, let's get a couple mentions in here. We'll get to the chip shot and the right call. Hey, cover 3. It's your spot. I'm watching my Tigers grind, trying to hang in there against those Cleveland Guardians. But hey, get to cover 3 this weekend, tonight, tomorrow, every chance you get. It's the ultimate headquarters for this time of year. You're going to get great food, great service, great drinks, and a great vibe. So, when you're having that Chop House burger, the Texas Monthly calls one of the best burgers in the state of Texas, the brick chicken and mac and cheese, the Sean Adams prime rib sandwich, and you're hanging out with your friends, and you're watching your favorite team. Look, if you're not going to Gainesville, post up at cover 3 for the Texas-Florida game at 2:30. How about grab some brunch? The breakfast quesadilla, the do-it-yourself Bloody Mary bar. Come on. You know where to go. Cover 3 Anderson, cover 3 Round Rock. And my guys who are snoring, hey, we got you covered. Do it for the person sleeping next to you. Go to the Sleep Cycle Center right here in Austin. You got a location in Lakeway, a location at the Arboretum. Dr. Chad Denman has dedicated his life to treating sleep apnea because it killed his own father at the age of 60. That's what we're talking about with sleep apnea. It is a silent killer. And if you're just like, I'm fine, I snore, whatever. No, like if you snore, you need to get checked out. And because of our great partnership with Texas Sports Unfiltered and the Sleep Cycle Center, all you have to do is go to sleepcyclecenters.com. Tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. They're going to take $100 off your sleep study. That's everything. That sleep study is going to tell you the level of sleep apnea. If you have it, it's going to tell you what level you have, and then you have the best treatment options from Dr. Chad. Like from oral appliances like I have, mouth guard that holds my lower jaw open so I get that oxygen when I'm sleeping, to surgery. But you need to know what you're up against because you don't want the ultimate sacrifice to happen because you didn't take the time to get checked out. We tell our guys all the time, get your physical, get your heart checked at the Austin Heart Hospital, the $99 heart scan, get that colonoscopy. Don't let life creep up on you when you could be ahead of it. That's what it's all about. And that's what the Sleep Cycle Center is all about. And our man, Tom McKay, audiovisual consultations. He's ready for you when you're ready for the big screen of your dreams, for that man cave, for that media room. He's got you the surround sound. He's going to bring you the best price on big screens. So you don't need to be driving around town, lugging 80-inch TVs in your truck. Just call 255-8678 or go to avconsultations.com and let Tom and his crew bring everything to you. All right, Zay. Good stuff today. Really good stuff. Lance Taylor. He didn't sound like he was backing off of that 3-2 prediction for Texas.
Show did it.
going into the OU game. He's been pumping that since preseason. And I'm going to say it again. When I come to you tomorrow, I'll be in Ocala, Florida, hopefully on time, hoping that the airlines get me there, because it's Ocala's a little bit outside of Tampa, and I'll be making the drive up to Ocala by the time the show begins. But this game is huge. Like, this game Saturday for Texas, for Arch Manning, for the Texas offense, honestly. Look, the defense has given us no reason to question where their focus is, where their attention to detail is. You got a true freshman playing star for you, who is already getting attention from NFL scouts. Like, the defense is answering the call. They're tops in the nation. You know, they're among the best in the nation on third down. They're squeezing people against the run. They're the number 3 scoring defense in the nation. And that's the only statistic that matters in defense, is points allowed. And Texas is number 3. So it's on this offense. It's on this offense. It's on Steve Sarkisian. This is your side of the ball, my man. And the offense has held Texas back from winning the national championship the last 2 years. Texas could have won the national championship each of the last 2 years. If you think I'm crazy, check the numbers. The worst matchup for Texas in that semifinal in 23 was Washington, because the pass defense wasn't where it was a year ago. But they still had opportunities, but the offense turned the ball over, and they couldn't punch it in the red zone, you know, in the final seconds of that game. Last year, the defense playing great, stupid call by Pete Kwiatkowski before halftime cost them a touchdown. But they're still driving. They're at the flipping 1 yard line, 1st and goal from the 1 to tie it with 3 minutes left in the game. And Texas can't do it. In fact, they fucking get strip sapped. Max Sawyer takes it 83 yards for the, you know, game sealing touchdown. Well, this is it. You heard it. I mean, this is the point of no return. If Texas doesn't win this game against Florida, they're probably going to be, I don't know, maybe even an underdog against OU. But if the Texas offense looks like it is totally progressed over these 2 weeks, the bye week and game week, well, then people are going to put Texas back in the conversation. More importantly, the Texas players, the Texas coaches, the confidence, the momentum of the program will start to move in the right direction. After being the preseason number 1, which means nothing, you're going to have a chance to build momentum going into that OU. Then you beat OU. Oh, hell. Now we're talking about, okay, Texas is back. They're going to be in the top 7 teams in the nation at that point, and they're going to be talked about as a national title contender. The only reason people are not talking about Texas as a national title contender is because they don't believe in the offense. They don't believe in Arch Manning. Okay, guess what? Every Saturday, you get 12 of them. You get to prove people wrong, or you get to prove people right. And on Saturday, Texas is in the position of proving people wrong, because they're ready to give up on these Longhorns. They don't think that this offensive line is good enough. They don't think the running backs are good enough or healthy enough. They don't know what to make of these wide receivers. There's like Parker Livingston's playing his ass off, but white guy running around, they're not buying that.
White boy. Gotta prove it.
Gotta prove it.
White boy.
White guy corners and white guy receivers, you got to do extra to prove yourself. And Ryan Wingo, people aren't talking about 7 catches, 125 yards, 3 touchdowns last 2 games. Okay, that's moving in the right direction. Emmett Mosley, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. If we get to see number 3 out there, you know, blocking people, catching, making plays. Remember, 4 of his 6 touchdown catches last year at Stanford happened on 4th down. That's how much they trusted that dude. Okay, let's see it. Let's see it. I mean, we are a third of the way through the season. If we don't see it Saturday, it's not going to be the season that Texas wants. It's not. There's going to be residue. There's going to be weirdness. There's going to be a lot of questions, the players. And I don't know. I don't know where the metal of this, I don't know where the mental makeup of this Texas offense is. I don't know. I think Steve Sarkisian's really good. Everyone's like, he needs a offensive play caller. Okay, I'm not there yet. I think Steve Sarkisian's really good at drawing up plays to beat teams. Like what he did against Michigan last year was electric. He tried to do it again against Ohio State. Arch couldn't deliver the ball. He couldn't throw the ball. It was yips like I've never seen. And then it went away for San Jose State, and then it came back for UTEP at home. Like, Diego Pavia doesn't have the yips. Ty Simpson, he ain't got the yips. Carson Beck and Arch Manning have the exact same numbers right now. Okay, Arch, time to separate. Time to separate. And it's not about what other people are doing. It's about what you're doing in this offense. It's about your comfortability. You've been in this offense for 3 years. Okay, Ryan Wingo, maybe he's had some jitters as the wide receiver 1. I need some dogs out there. I need some guys who got nothing to lose. I need some guys who are out there hungry like the wolf, who are like, you're getting in the way of my paycheck. You're trying to take something away from me. You're trying to steal my woman. I'm gonna take you down, and I'm gonna make you suffer. I'm gonna make you suffer. That's the kind of mindset I need to see from this Texas offense on Saturday. And if we don't see it, this Texas offense might be just a bunch of fluff and marshmallow and glossy. Looks good on a poster, looks good on Instagram, looks good in those reels that Texas football puts out, but they ain't got no heart. They ain't got no toughness. I want to see some heart. I want to see some toughness. You're going into the swamp. This is where, dreams go to die. You need to make your dreams come to life in the swamp. You need to take the souls of those Gator fans. You need to make them go home at halftime. You need to make them wish they never left their house, that they should have stayed home and had half the screen on Vanderbilt, Alabama, while they're, instead of driving into Ben Hill Griffin Stadium and sitting in the rain with their ponchos and getting all wet and soggy and watching their team suck. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to bring to the swamp. And if you don't have that mindset, you're probably going to get beat. Unless that Texas defense is turning people over and scoring by themselves. But I think it can happen. I think this Texas offense can take a big step. And if it doesn't happen, you got real reasons for concern, Texas. You got real reasons for concern because this Florida defense is beat up. They don't have their best player. Last year, Texas got lucky. They played all these backup quarterbacks. Guess what? You're going up against a Florida defense that has been legit, and you don't have to play their best player. You're not facing Caleb Banks. So you better bring it. That's all I got to say.
Man. What a chip shot, dog. What a show. You were on one today. You're always on one, but today, always love when you play golf, man. It's one of my favorite days. When Chip plays golf, we're going to have a good show today. Chip and Zay, pop it. Yeah, hell of a chip shot. Let's get to the right call. For that, though, got to give a shout out to Covert BK, best in the business, over 100 years of doing it well, and y'all should go check them out. We got our Buick Encore GX from Covert Bee Cave. It is lovely. If you don't want to take my word for how great Covert Bee Cave is, listen to these fine folks of Covert Bee Cave.
You see Covert everywhere. It's that personal level of just feeling like it's a personal family interaction.
The customer service, it's impeccable. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced buying a car. Over the 30 years that I've been buying cars from them, I feel like I know them and they know me.
Covert's done an amazing job of making me feel valued. If you purchase a vehicle and you want to feel like you're part of a family, join the Covert family.
Come and experience it for yourself.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
Nobody beats a Covert deal. Not now, not ever. All right, Chip. So, according to Yahoo, this is a ridiculous story. I hope it's not true, but I'm sure it definitely is. But according to Yahoo, the NCAA are inching closer to an agreement on expanding the March Madness NCAA tournament to 76 freaking teams in 2026 and the 2027 season. What are we doing, man? They're trying to have like a 12 game opening round, play that 2 sites. So not only do we have the first 4, they want to expand on that and put all these teams that go freaking 16-16, that maybe win 17 games in the year, that are going to be normally really good NIT teams. They're going to give them a shot to win a national championship. And we all know it's about money. That's what this is about. But gosh, man, what happened to the game I loved? Like 64 is fine. Okay, 68 with the first 4, especially for Texas' sake this past year. I was cool with that. 76 is just bogus, man.
76. Hey, man. Everybody gets in. Everybody gets a little something. I mean, listen, the NCAA is entirely funded off of the revenue from the men's television revenue from the men's basketball tournament. The NCAA's entire funding comes from that. And everybody hates the NCAA. So that tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Just bad basketball for these first games. I mean, I'm still going to watch it just because.
Well, I mean, they put these 11 seeds into the play-in games. What are we doing there?
Yeah,
that's all television.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing your way in, you should be the 16 seeds or whatever. The team's first 4 out.
Seeds are always the Power 6 team that's on the bubble. Like that's just,
And look, VCU under Shaka made it to the Final Four out of a play-in game.
Yeah.
And then Shaka, poof, disappeared.
Yeah. Well, Shaka's still at Marquette.
But he never goes anywhere in the NCAA tournament.
No. Yeah.
Since 2011.
I blame the hair. That hair, man. That's an issue for me. Speaking of hair. Yes, that's exactly who he looks like. Yes, he looks exactly like
Wright was bald all those years, and then he grew out his hair, and everyone's like, wait, what? What's happening?
Beige brothers, man. Light-skinned beige brothers. I don't know what it is. All right, before we bring Open Gym on, some wholesome content. Jeff Green and Kevin Durant, they got drafted together in Seattle like 18 years ago. Now they play together in Houston, and NBA, they made a nice little video of those two reminiscing a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that was New Orleans rookie all-star weekend. I knew. Just young guys trying to make a name for themselves. I grew up in Kent Lane. He grew up in Sea Pleasant. That's 5 to 10 minutes apart. But we didn't get close until draft.
With Jeff with me, it's gonna be even. We're gonna go through a lot of the same things together. We're gonna win and lose together. We're gonna practice. We're gonna do a lot of things together as rookies, and nobody can take that from us.
He was 19. I just turned 21, so he wasn't able to go anywhere. So we played a lot of video games. We was in the gym a lot. That was like home base for us.
Me and Jeff, damn. Now we teammates now. The oldest dude's on the team. He almost 40. I'm close to 42.
He's still the same old Kevin from rookie year, don't brush his hair, keeps it all natural. That's what I love most about him.
So yeah, what a full circle moment.
Say Kevin, don't brush his hair. Yo, that's my favorite part. That's the only reason why I had to play that for the people, because
don't brush his hair.
Yo, KD don't put on lotion. He don't brush his hair. He don't care about his outfits. It's just about hoop, man, and trolling people on Twitter. That's it.
That's
all he's got. But
that's it.
Great show, my friend.
I love it.
Matt, Patrick, fellas of Open Gym. What's happening, gentlemen?
What's up?
It's going good, man. I always hate to hear whenever we get to NCAA making any sort of decision. It's never a positive, is it?
No.
It's a money grab.
76, man.
No, it's so over the top. And I don't think they understand burnout of it. Of like, you're just gonna make it to where people are so burnt out by the end, because it's gonna be 2 months by the time you get done with it, where you're like, all right, well, opening starts in February and then March Madness ends in April. Yeah. We're gonna start it that way. It starts in February, ends in April. It's gonna be, and we're like, why can't we just have it like we did? Like, oh, because we're old rich guys who want to profit off the backs of young men playing sports, and we have no other skills other than really just a bullshit system that we created a long time ago that has been almost outlawed, yet somehow we still exist. Yeah. My thoughts about the NCAA. Not a fan.
Yeah, not a fan.
Can't say I am either.
Like, make it special.
Make it.
Not everybody has to get in.
Hey, just like we're going to talk about Eli Drinkowitz. If the regular season doesn't matter, all y'all are going to make about $20 million less a year. So how about we make the regular season matter? Yeah. Because that's the majority of our time is the regular season. Let's make it matter. Yeah. And everybody now is like, how about we just play all the games in the postseason? Like, no, there's a reason why the regular season. It's a reason why college it has a perk over a pro sports, and you're trying to kill that.
Yeah,
good point.
All right,
see you, fellas. We'll let you have it. See you tomorrow,
you guys.
Later, guys.
Welcome in to Open Gym Hero. We got it wrong again.
There we go.
Welcome into Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Patrick Davis, myself, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. Text lines open 512-222-9328 or over on the chat, Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. And CB, no, I don't think he's full on as bad, but yeah, he's got that reputation. I've seen him get called out a few times, CB, for being a bit ashy, but I can't talk. I mean, I'm also ashy on my elbow. So the great life lesson, white people get ashy too. You just can't tell. Yeah. So most white people are ashy as well. We just don't tell as much. We're in the show today. We're going to get Corey Mose going to join the show. Excited to have Corey Mose from KView join the show at 4:30. We'll get to our SEC power rankings at 5. So a lot of fun stuff coming up on the show today. But it's a Thursday. We're getting closer to the game, Matt, and I'm starting to see more and more groundswell for Florida's going to upset Texas. I'm starting to see more of a groundswell for it now. That and the normal one, I know this was Josh Pate's take on it. I think it's kind of the common is, well, Texas hasn't beaten anybody and Florida lost to good teams. So we can't judge anything. I get that. And USF's a decent team, but the concept of we can't judge anything off of them, you should be an AP poll voter if you believe we cannot tell anything from any of those games.
Yeah, I mean, you can go back and watch my film review of the Sam Houston State game. You can go watch my guy Brooks Austin's review of the Sam Houston State game from this week. You can go watch anything on that game. There is so much that you can take away from how this team improved, how Arch improved. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. The things that happened in that game, it is something to there is something to take away from that. And just because you haven't played anybody, like, I think that's such a bullshit narrative. Like, they played the number 1 team in the country and lost by a touchdown. You played somebody. You played them pretty well. You almost beat them, and you came up short. I don't buy that narrative whatsoever. And it's just like, there's been all this discourse on at least my social media, my X feed lately about Texas's schedule and all this stuff. And it's like, at a certain point, you're just coping. I'm sorry that you had to play Georgia in week 4. Texas had to play Ohio State, the best team in the country, in week 1.
Yeah.
And now they got a little bit of time to get things right. And most of these teams in the SEC have time to get things right in the middle of November. Like Tennessee gets basically 2 weeks off in the middle of November.
Yeah.
There's like all this stuff about you haven't played this and you haven't done. It's just it's such a non-starter for me. I'm so tired.
No. And we keep saying, like, the general consent. That's one of those things that if you wanted to, as someone who's done radio and what you do in sports radio and debating and all that, I can tell you for everyone's schedule why they have the roughest and why they have the easiest. It's like there's ways to spin everything you want to spin in this. And so they're just spinning it in the way of Texas gets everything because they're Texas, and you should never give them credit for anything. But I think, like, at the end of the day, it comes back to, well, would they have the same record? Would Florida have Texas' record if they had played the same schedule? And possibly they would have. They also would have looked awful doing it. Like, that's the main concept. They would have also looked awful doing it. I think that there's reasons for Texas fans to be excited about it. Sark was asked about it today. We're going to get to some sound from the media veil today. And Sark was asked about that schedule, and it was like the last question. And he was like, yeah, I don't really think about that, man. They give us a schedule and I go do it. I'm not worried about if it's, harder or easier than anybody else's. I'm just going to go and try and do the best I can in my schedule. And I you just tell I was a younger guy asking the question. And so, you get some of those sometimes. Sometimes Sark speaks to the media on Thursdays, and today he did that. We have some audio from that I want to get into, Matt, before we get to Corey Mose, so we'll hit this pretty quick. But one of the first pieces that I saw today is something I was talking about with Steven from Fanatic Perspective on Friday. We've talked about a little bit of one of the pieces of a Sark offense is that perimeter blocking and how it hasn't really been at the level it needs to be yet for Texas. Here's Sark speaking about the perimeter blocking in his media availability today.
Yeah, I think it's really important to who we are. We've always do that good, bad, and ugly on Monday. And, one of those 25 or so plays that I showed to the team Monday was a perimeter block by Ryan Wingo and DeAndre Moore to spring Dalen McCutcheon for about a 18, 20-yard gain on a bubble screen. And that's important because if we don't create some of those types of plays on the perimeter, then the box and the run game, it just gets harder and harder and harder. So to be able to expand those things horizontally is important. It also allows some things vertically because, if DBs feel like they have to press up to go play our perimeter screen game, now it gives you a few more opportunities to try to get behind them down the field. But if you're not effective blocking out there, that doesn't make a defensive coordinator feel the need to deploy more people to the edge. That doesn't make players on the field feel so urgent to have to go try to defeat the blocks. And so we've spent a lot of time and effort throughout the bye week of working on that. And we have the people that are more than capable to doing that. It's just recognizing the blocks and then trusting their techniques. And then at the end of the day, letting go. As I think one thing that can hurt you on the perimeter is we want them to block so well, then they grab a shoulder pad, then you get a holding penalty and it's unnecessary. So I think we've worked really hard at that. That was something that we tried to, kind of harp on throughout the bye week, and hopefully we see the benefits of it here in the near future.
So there's Sark answering the question about perimeter blocking and its importance on this team. And it is one of those missing pieces of this offense so far this season. And it's kind of been shadowed by Arch's inability to connect with the wide receivers early. But now you say, well, now you have that. How do you attack at all the layers? How do you attack at the line of scrimmage in midfield and down the field. How do you attack it all three? And you need to have a screen game. You need to be able to put guys in short yardage and try and get them big plays down the field. We always talk about Sark. What he wants to do is get a guy catching it in motion a lot of times. So you can catch one over the middle that's a 3 or 4 yard pass, just right past the line of scrimmage. But if he's caught in the right spot and he's got wide receivers blocking downfield, it could go for 30 yards, 40 yards. So that's such a big part of what Sark wants to do in his offense. And it just felt like so many people in this young offense were trying to figure out their roles and trying to press. And we know Ryan Wingo is pressing, and Parker Livingstone was doing good, but he's just not quite there yet as a blocker. And he was trying to find his role in the offense that maybe, trying to earn a spot where DeAndre Moore wasn't playing and Parker and Emmett Mosley, who was going to be the guy in front of him. So two guys in front of him weren't playing. So now he's kind of in a different role than he'd normally be in. So he's trying to figure that out. And I think now you get DeAndre Moore back. We can play a clip about Emmett Mosley as well. You're hoping to get him back. We'll get into the injury report after we talk to Corey Mose too. But if you get those guys back, maybe your perimeter blocking can get a little bit better, Matt. And once it does, that opens up even more action that you don't necessarily have to be great at the line of scrimmage blocking. Doesn't have to have a great O-line to do perimeter passing. And you also don't necessarily have to have a super accurate downfield passing quarterback that makes all these great decisions. It's really just, that's open, throw it that way. If it's not, run outside. There's two options. These are two options. Go to these two things. But Matt, that could be big for Texas if they start to figure that out. And it sounds like they were really pushing the players during the bye week.
Yeah, I mean, it's you mentioned it's an absolutely critical part of what Texas does offensively. Sark loves these short screen passes on the perimeter to like Ryan Wingo and DeAndre Moore. And there's a couple of occasions in this game where I felt like, in their last game rather, where I felt like they really did a better job of making those blocks downfield, like the Ryan Niblett one that there was an explosive play down the right side of the field. And the one to Ryan Wingo was a good one as well. But then there was one early in the game to DeAndre Moore where like Arch kind of double hitched a little bit and it kind of threw off the timing of the play a little bit. And just because DeAndre Moore is awesome, he was able to get 9 or 10 yards on the play. So if you're blocking those things consistently, those screens, I know they look like they're, it's designed to get 5 or 6 yards, but if you block those things right, they're going to go for 30, 40 yards. And you could, that could be the difference in 14 or 21 points in the game. And Joel Klatt said something too on one of his shows over the summer about, it's kind of similar to me in Texas's offense too. Like, so he talks about this, the receiver running the go route. And he calls it the bench player or something like that. I'd have to go back and listen again. But basically, if you don't run your ass off down the sideline and carry that defender down the field, you're going straight to the bench because that's your only job.
Yeah.
And for Texas, it's kind of similar with the blocking on the perimeter. If you don't block your ass off on those plays and do it effectively and cleanly, then, you're not doing your job. You should be on the bench watching DeAndre Moore do that or somebody else do that. So I think that's kind of a similar role for these Texas receivers in that sense. And it's super important. And having Emmett Mosley back is going to be huge in that regard, but we'll get to that.
And let's throw in too, the concept of the difference is, even if you're not breaking the 30-yard plays, which are great, even if a screen's only 5 yards, that's a run play. All right, we throw it outside, we got 5 yards. If there's no perimeter blocking, it's -2, -3. The Khalid Lockett play was -10 yards. Those ones are really the killers. So, it's not only important to be really great at it so you can get them downfield, it's important to be good enough that you're not screwing over your team and getting into, once again, the enemy of all of us, 3rd and long, where now your playbook shrinks. They can come after Arch. You really have only got a few options. He's got to make a heroic play, and that's not where you want to be in this Sark offense. You want to be consistently moving it downfield, and especially on those easy pass plays to the outside. You want to be able to put it down and be able to get upfield a little bit better. So I think that is a huge piece. And if Emmett Mosley is able to play and get in the rotation, Sark was asked about Emmett Mosley and what he could bring to this team. Here's what Sark had to say about that today.
Yeah, I love Emmett as a player. I wish we had him this first 4 games of the season. He was a very dynamic player for Stanford a year ago. He's a guy that has length, very good hands. He's sudden. He's a really good route runner. Obviously he's an elite blocker. And what it does, it really gives you that third receiver that has some length to him, obviously with what Ryan's length and Parker's length and now Emmett's length. And a guy with experience, a guy who's played. And now with Parker's experience and Ryan, those 3 guys, provide a little something different to go along with, DeAndre and then Dalen McCutcheon. I feel like we're starting to formulate that kind of group that we were hoping to have. But it's great to have Emmett. He's a guy that has really worked hard to get back healthy. He's got a pro mentality about his approach. And I think not only is he good for the room in his approach to it, I think he's good for our team. He's good for our offense in particular that way with just his approach to the way that he works.
There's Sark talking about Emmett Mosley, who they hope to have back this week. But yeah, it's another person who's got some playing time under his belt, who's got some game experience, gives you a different look in the wide receiver game as well. It'd be big to get him back on the field. And the reality of it is you don't even really expect him to be a huge impact super quick because he's just missed so much time. But I think you do expect, you want him to get him back now, because if you get him back now, by the time you play a Georgia or an A&M later in the season, now he can be a really big impact for those games down the stretch if he's able to start playing now, because it's just, you got to kind of get into this offense and start feeling it at some point.
It's not going to be the same effect that Matthew Golden had on this team because they're just different players. I would liken it more to kind of the effect that, and he's even probably not, I don't know if he's as fast as Adonai Mitchell, but kind of that same, good route runner, strong hands, can go, attack the ball at the catch point and win in traffic. That's a huge thing to have in your offense.
Yeah.
And Ryan Wingo has kind of struggled with that to a certain point so far this season, not so much against Sam Houston, but the rest of the year, just like their connection was kind of off. Parker Livingston had a pretty solid showing of that against Ohio State, but this guy's experienced. He brings, so many different things to this offense that I think really has a chance to complete this wide receiver core. It's like they've been missing a component. And I feel like Emmett Mosley could be that component. And it really sounds like the way that everybody's talking about him right now. Parker talked about it this week. Arch was kind of coy about it this week. Sark's like, it's great to have him back. Like, it sounds like he's going to play this week, which I don't know if that's going to be 10 snaps or 20 snaps or 30 snaps. Probably not too many because he's just getting back involved in the game.
Yeah.
And they don't want to push him too hard. But like this is a guy that can make a play at any point. So it's going to be huge if he's actually back.
Sark was also asked, and this is a question about Emmett Mosley too, how much do you throw the ball in this game? But they was kind of asked, how do you prepare for a game where it may be rainy? Because that is kind of one of the bigger points that we've seen in discussion about this game is you're going to the swamp and it may be a swamp. It may literally be a muggy, rainy, wet day. And so Sark was asked, how do you prepare for the rain? And this is more to ease anybody's mind to think that Texas is not ready for a rain game at any time.
We always practice with wet balls every week. We don't wait for the week of, and that's something that our quarterbacks, running backs, work wet ball exchanges with the centers, every week. Our receivers will catch wet balls at minimum once a week. And so, again, we're always trying to develop our guys. And so that when games like this show up, I think one of the mistakes you can make is, hey, it might rain Saturday, so let's practice with a wet ball all week. And you deal with some of that when you do that, well, now the timing's a little bit different. The receivers are worried about catching a ball as opposed to maybe the route depth and the coverage. And then you show up Saturday and, the storm never really hits or it sprinkles for a quarter and it's sunny the whole time and you spend all this time on that. So I think you got to find the right balance in what it is. And then as a coach, you got to be adaptable at any game, and so you go into ball games with a plan, and then you have contingency plans for anything that could occur, and sometimes your center can't go, and you got to start your backup center like we had to, and you play that. And so maybe some of the things that you did with your starting center is different when the backup center or your quarterback goes out, or it starts to rain, or it's really windy. There's a million things that can show up on game day, and then you have to have the ability to adjust and be adaptable for what may present itself. And then you play the odds. What are the odds? It's supposed to rain a lot. Then you kind of prepare for rain. If there's no rain in the forecast, you don't prepare as much for it. But again, you can't put all your eggs in one basket and then they come out in a different defense. Now, what are you going to do? So you have to prepare for some things that, that may be unforeseen. And then you prepare for some of the odds of what may occur. And then you try to put your players in the best position to have success.
There is Sark talking about the preparation for the rain. I think someone on Texas should get a underwear endorsement that they do not have wet balls after the amount of times he said wet balls in that clip. But that is, look, it is his point of, guys, I get it. We prepare for this all the time. We are constantly, we may never play in a wet weather game all season long, but we try to prepare for it because if it pops up on us somewhere, we don't want to be completely screwed. That is what good programs do, is you're trying to prepare for every inevitability. It's why sometimes you have more veteran coaches on your staff, because they've seen just more and more things. Like watch Spinal Tap recently, the new Spinal Tap and Spinal Tap moments. The more you know about Spinal Tap moments and things that can go wrong when you're putting on a show, the more when I'm putting together how I'm setting things up, the more experience I have, the more things I have ready to go for every inevitability. And now 90% of the time, you don't use most of those. So when you do, someone goes, how did you know? You go, well, because I one time we did this and we blew the entire power to a club. So now I'm prepared for that as well. So you know what you're ready for. And for Sark, it's like, yeah, we know we have to get ready for rain because it's probably going to rain on us sometime, and we got to be ready for it. Now, the reality is what everybody wanted him to say was, we're going to run the ball and Arch is never even going to pass it. We're just going to run it. Don't worry. We're just going to run it. I think that's what a lot of people want to hear, but he didn't. He just said, don't worry. We practice with wet balls.
Yeah, I mean, you got to prepare for those kinds of situations. I think that it's smart the way that he's doing it, once a week as opposed to just devoting an entire week when maybe it's not even going to rain. That's I'm sure that's something that he's learned over his time with Pete Carroll and Nick Saban and all those things. I wonder if, some of these other programs have taken the time to even kind of consider that kind of scenario or that kind of lesson. But meteorologist Matt has a weather update for everybody for the game on Saturday, just in case. According to Apple Weather, which is probably the most unreliable weather app in the history of time, it is not supposed to rain in Gainesville until 10:30 p.m.
Yeah,
that is likely to change because it's, for one thing, it's Florida and it rains all the time, and another thing, Apple Weather sucks. But just based on my weather app on my phone, it may not end up raining. So they're prepared if it does, and if it doesn't, they'll be fine.
No, it is. Like the amount of times I have tried to make plans and then watch the weather and you're like, okay, it's going to be 90 degrees and it may rain. Okay, now it's going to rain in the morning. Okay, now it's not supposed to rain at all and it's going to be 110 degrees. And you're like, it's changed that much between Wednesday. So it's only Thursday. We've still got 2 more days to get there. Who knows? I did see go ahead.
Hot take here. And no offense if anybody listening is a meteorologist. That's got to be the easiest job in the world because you could be wrong every single day and you'll still get your paycheck.
No, but you have to know big words. You got to make it sound. And also the green screen pointing, I still can't even do it with this.
Yeah, I mean, so I still try to point to my jersey over here when it's actually over here. And it's
exactly. No, that's my point. See, you tried to do it wrong and you did it right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So there's hard things about it. We know that. But now it is no one knows what the weather is actually going to be like. You won't figure it out until we get there. And so you do have to be prepared for it because if it is, I think that probably helps Florida more because in all reality, everyone's also saying, just run Jaden Balch, run Jaden Balch, run Jaden Ball. Like, why are you not running him more? And I get certain guys aren't 20 carry backs. And so you know that in practice that they don't necessarily get better. They tail off, so you try not to overwork them. I think against Texas, you really want to do that. And if it's rainy, they're going to do it more. I think, probably it's not a bad sign if you're able to get DJ Lagway to try and throw the ball. I don't know if that's necessarily the worst thing in the world for him to go back and let your edges eat.
Make him throw the ball as much as humanly possible in this game, please.
Or at least drop back. He doesn't even have to throw. He can get sacked. We don't mind that either. One last one before Corey Mose hops on. Sark was asked, this is somewhat of a leading question by Joe Cook, which Joe Cook's great, but was asking about limiting the playbook basically because you have younger players. And so not being able to run all of his multiple sets and formations and movement and everything that he loves to do in a Sark offense, that it's not really been able to do at the full level yet because he has young players. So he's like, you have to take that out, leave it back in. Here's what Sark had to say about that.
I feel like you're trying to tell me to do that, but that's okay. I'll answer it. Okay. So anyway, what we actually try to do is implement schemes. And then as the season goes on, find multiple ways to continue to run the same schemes out of different personnel groupings, formations, motions, shifts, so on and so forth. We really don't make up new plays once the season starts going. We find more creative ways to run the same plays. And so when I talked about early in the week about laying a foundation, that's really what we did throughout training camp and through the first 4 weeks of the season. We had to make sure we laid that solid foundation for some of these guys that were new to our system or new to playing so that we could expand on that and find more creative ways to do the things that we are doing well. And that was the other part of the first 4 games, was to identify what do we do well, all right, and then how do we emphasize those things and continue to do more of that, but also what aren't we doing well that we know we're going to need to do, that was something we could work on in training camp because we know we're going to need it throughout this season. So to your point, I think you just don't show up in week 1 and you run all these, a bunch of crazy plays and, 19 different formations. It's more about, okay, we got to lay a solid foundation so that we can build upon it as the season goes.
So there's Sark's answer to that question is we do that. We still are doing that, but it is true that week 1, you couldn't walk out with Quinn Ewers and say, how to call this play exactly. All your wide receivers are going to know the motion to take and your offensive linemen are going to know protections, but you can say, this is the play and we're going to call it again in 2 weeks, but now it may be in a slightly different formation. And now the play may be in a situation where, there's movement in it now, or we may put in a bunch or something like that because we think it'll work better, but it's still basically the same play. It seems like a pretty smart way to run, trying to get your offense to learn a little bit more about the offense as it goes, but not overburden them and then not have to give them 120 different sets. Just be like, look, you're only going to really learn 40, 50. But we're just going to keep using those and they're going to evolve as the season goes.
And I think that's what makes Sark's offense so special, honestly, is that you can run so many different sets and so many different motions to call the same play, and it confuses defenses and it puts guys in different matchups to exploit and all those different things. And that's why he's so fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, you have to lay the foundation so that these young players know what to expect when you're calling the play, what they're supposed to do. And now okay, now I can send Parker Livingstone to this side of the formation. He can run the same route to the opposite side of the field or whatever the case may be. So I really like that and that's why I like watching his offenses so much and why I think he's such an awesome and creative play caller. But, we'll see how it works at this week against Florida, how much they've actually expanded on that playbook. It'll be interesting to see.
All right, why don't we welcome in our man Corey Mose. You know him from KView. You know him from the 90 other shows that he is a part of and trying to do. He is constantly around campus, constantly working, one of the sharpest dressed man and hardest working man in the business right now. My man Corey Mose. We appreciate you joining us, Corey.
What's poppin', man? Glad to be here. I appreciate the notoriety with all the shows. Sometimes I feel like, am I doing too much? But it's like, not at all. I love what I do.
No, man, that's it. You got to be everywhere you're at. I know you're always down there talking with the players, talking with the coaching staff, trying to get the beat on this team. We were talking to start off the show that there is a thought by some that the Texas team maybe is overly confident after Sam Houston, and really that didn't mean anything, and that game is completely devoid of any meaning whatsoever. What's the feeling you got from the players? That's kind of where you feel, did they get, a big jolt of confidence, or does this kind of seem like the same team just saying this is what we're supposed to look like?
I felt like it was kind of like a sigh of relief. I think everyone wanted just to see it happen, because what have we gotten from the players the last couple of weeks is that they've seen it happen in practice. I feel like everybody that I've talked to has been like, Arch has been showing out in practice. We just don't figure out, we don't know why it's not correlating to the game day. And so for it to actually correlate and transfer over to game day, I think that was just a big like woosah for everybody else on the roster. And I think with that happening, of course, now they're going into SEC play with a newfound confidence of our guy can get it done in Arch Manning. And I think with that type of reassurance after Sam Houston, it's going to make this team just a little bit more dangerous, in my opinion.
Yeah, Corey, kind of to that point, there was a moment in Joe Burrow's career where he took a big hit, and it seemed like it kind of unlocked something in him where he's like, okay, I'm here. I'm ready to go. And then he just kind of dialed in after that, and he was balling out after that. And it kind of seemed like for Arch, maybe that moment happened against Sam Houston. It wasn't on the play where he got stood over by the linebacker, but kind of later on in that football game, he took a big hit. He delivered a football to, I think it was either Ryan Wingo or DeAndre Moore, and he got back up, and it just seemed like everything clicked after that. Is that kind of something that you're seeing with him where he's kind of turned that corner and he's, kind of gotten through that barrier of, okay, now I'm here and I'm ready to rock?
Yeah, it's interesting that you note that, because I think we've started to figure out and starting to listen to players and listen to Coach Sark as well. Like, Arch is different. Like, he's a different type of player. And I think a lot of Texas fans, and I honestly think, like, me as a journalist and covering only Quinn Ewers in my time here in Austin, I've had to start to adjust a little bit about who Arch is at the quarterback, because I'm so used to who Quinn was. You got to get used to how Quinn reacts to certain interceptions, or, how Quinn reacts in front of the media after a bad game or after a good game. And now it's like, oh, wow, like Arch is a completely different person when it comes to these different aspects. And so, like you just pointed out, Arch sometimes needs to get hit. And that's something that Coach Sarkisian alluded to after Ohio State, after the first game. He even said that I felt like he waited a little bit too long to put more QB runs, design QB runs into the game plan to get Arch just comfortable. He feels like Arch needs to get hit. And that's something that, like, with Quinn, you don't really think about, because you didn't want Quinn to get hit at all. But for someone like Arch, it's completely different. Like, he likes to get hit. It feels like it gets him in the game mode, like you just said. And then also with just the reactions to different missteps that he may have. Like Coach Sarkisian talked about this on the Monday presser, but the way Arch reacts to maybe interceptions is completely different the way Quinn did. Quinn would just rub it off. Like, him, he's very cool, calm, and collected. But Arch, he may need to scream. He may need to do a little yell on the sideline. And then, okay, he's back. And Arch kind of confirmed it. After we talked to him, he said, yeah, sometimes I need to get the emotions out, and then I'm good to go. And so those are the type of, like, small, minute things that, like I said, I'm trying to get used to covering a new quarterback at Texas. I'm sure a lot of Texas fans are getting used to as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've seen Arch be a very different person. And of course there was the fall, the in the end zone and him cheering. And then you had to go back and go, he got stepped over first. Calm down, everybody, calm down. But we've seen all that. But the leadership we saw in the huddle with DeAndre Moore coming back, and DeAndre Moore being just, it seemed like his calming influence was a big piece. We know Trey Wisner is part of that as well, but I don't know if it's there on the offensive line yet where we found that leader there. Who are some of the other guys that you've seen, especially on the offense, but maybe on the defense, that are emerging as the new leaders? Because every year we hear at the beginning of the year, like, oh, these guys are going to be it. And then the S hits the fan, and maybe some of those leaders were not necessarily completely ready yet.
Yeah, I think one guy, you said offense, so I'll start there, but I do want to touch on the defense real quick. There's one guy that's come to mind on defense. But on offense, yeah, Trevor Gooseby for sure has been a dude that we've actually been able to talk to. And Trevor was actually the guy that told me about the whole practice thing. Like, he mentioned that, we see what Arch does in practice, and we're just trying to figure out why it doesn't correlate to the field on game day. And so, like, he's been outspoken about some different issues that's been going on. I think they won't let us talk to him if he wasn't one of the leaders, and you expect DJ Campbell to be one of those guys as well on the offensive line. But I think a lot of people see Trevor's talent, see Trevor's potential. We all know he's probably going to be a top 15, top 10 draft pick once the time comes. And so he's already taken those steps leadership-wise. But defensively, I do want to shout out Hero Canoe. I mean, first off, I love the dude. I mean, whenever we talk to him in press conference, he's always a great soundbite. He's also very personable. But one thing I want to note out is I believe 2 weeks ago, before the game against Sam Houston, Ethan Burke said something that I thought was interesting. He mentioned how one of the guys he looks up to is Hero. And so I asked him, I was like, okay, you're one of the leaders on this team that people look up to you. I mean, you've been here for 4 or 5 years now. Why do you look up to a transfer that just got here? And he mentioned Hero's work ethic. He mentioned Hero's ability to just bring up the vibes and make sure everyone's just good. He mentioned that Hero's off the field is just a great person. And I think with someone coming into the locker room and having that much of an impact on an already established leader in this locker room says a lot. And I think that's why you're also seeing the success on the field for Hero as well.
I love to hear that because, we've constantly had the funny, charming defensive tackle. So it's nice to know we still got one. We've had those. They just keep going to the NFL.
Yeah. It's a good sign.
So speaking of a younger player, Jarrett Gibson had a great game against Sam Houston a couple weeks ago. He was committed to Florida at a certain point. He played at IMG Academy. He's a Florida guy. He had the best game of his career last year against the Florida Gators. And CJ Baxter is doubtful right now on the injury report. So it seems like Jarrett Gibson's going to kind of be their hammer guy, their short down and distance guy, their goal line guy this week. Is there a little bit of extra, oomph in his step coming into Florida this week, getting to go home, play against the Gators, a team that he used to be committed to, and the coach that he used to be committed to in Billy Napier?
Yeah, I do want to say this before I touch on Jarrett, but I hate it for CJ. I know CJ wanted to play at home, and of course his first year back from injury, and it's like, of course, the week that he misses or the couple weeks he misses aligns with Florida. But with Jarrett, for sure, he's going to be asked to be just have more responsibility, like you said, on short yards and stuff like that. But I think last game helped him out a lot. He was a little bit in the doghouse after that fumble, against UTEP. And so with him coming back out, I think says a lot about Jarrett's just fortitude to keep on pushing, to not let it fall into a habit of his with fumbling this season. And the way he responded against Sam Houston, I think showed a lot and put confidence in this coaching staff that he can get out there and get the short yards. And you don't have to put in Christian Clark. And you don't have to worry about a James Simon that was creeping up a little bit on touches. And so going back home, playing a team, like you said, they had success last year against, Jarrett's definitely going to be called upon. I'm excited to see how he follows up against the Gators.
With the addition of Emmett Mobley seeming like he's going to come back, and we know that they've kind of used Ryan Niblett a little bit in the backfield, had him, spread out a little bit as well. Do you think that maybe Texas is going to start trying to fix this perimeter blocking a little bit more? What does Emmett Mobley bring back to this Texas team that maybe it's just a missing little piece that Sark was planning on at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. I think it's the perimeter blocking. That's something Parker Livingston mentioned on Monday. He said that Emmett is by far the best blocker, or one of the best blockers he's ever seen at wide receiver. And so I think with that being said, this is coming from a guy who had a pretty good block, against, I believe that was San Jose State, when he had that block on the outside when DeAndre Moore Jr. was able to get outside. That was Parker Livingston, I should say. But he got a holding call on that, unfortunately. But it was a great block, in my opinion. But coming from a guy like Parker, right, who puts effort into blocking, for him to then compliment Emmett Mosley, I think that says a lot. And so that is something that I feel like they have been missing, is that perimeter blocking. And Coach Sarkisian has mentioned it a couple of times of this is why they haven't had a lot of long runs, because once you get past, of course, that first raid, that front seven on defense, it's all on the perimeter now to make sure the safeties and the corners don't come in and tackle the running backs. And so that may be something that we see on Saturday, where now we get some explosive runs that we haven't really seen all season long if Emmett Mosley is able to play and able to be an impact blocking, but also the down the field threat. We got to see Ryan Wingo catch that deep ball. Of course, they tried to get Parker a couple times, but that's why Emmett was brought in here. He's been that guy at Stanford to catch those deep passes. And so that's another threat on the outside that Arch can maybe throw the ball to down the field.
Yeah, Corey, we did a film review yesterday of Florida's passing offense. And
how was that?
Why it was awful. it was brutal to get through.
I was about to say.
but all the different reasons they've been struggling, and there were so many different things that I found, like the pressure and the inaccuracy and the awful play calling and route designs and all those different things. But the main thing that I took away from it was DJ just doesn't have a lot of time to throw the ball. And it seems like this is a game that Texas's edges have a real chance to kind of, I mean, they had a good game against San Houston, but it seems like this is their opportunity to kind of have a coming out party. Are those guys really relishing this opportunity against Florida? First SEC game, first team that's probably going to try and play their game, as opposed to the way that these other group of 5 teams they played against played. And I feel like this could be a big Colin Simmons game, but maybe I'm wrong. Is that kind of the feeling around the program right now?
I feel like the feeling around the program is containment, and that's why I'm kind of like pushing back a little bit on the whole sack numbers total. Because I think they just want to make sure he doesn't escape the pocket. Mm-hmm. I think what Texas would like to do is have him throw the ball. Like you said, they've been struggling. I mean, he just threw 5 picks a couple games ago. He only had 60-some yards last game. And so, like, that may be something that they want to insinuate is that, okay, we'll keep him in the pocket. And if you want to try to tear up this defensive back room, which is pretty good, try it, especially if it's going to be raining downpour. Of course, like, you want to get home and sack the quarterback, but DJ's a big dude. And so, like, trying to get him down isn't going to be easy. I know Anthony Hill talked about that on Monday about he's just a physically imposing quarterback, which, they practice against one every single day in Orange. But DJ has those athletic traits that's different than a lot of other quarterbacks in the SEC. And so I think their biggest thing is not letting DJ get out of the pocket. And so containment's going to be big for them. And maybe that does equate to sack numbers being high, but I think it could also equate to a lot of interceptions as well because they're forcing him to throw the ball.
I like that. We got Corey Mose with us here from KView. Corey, you talk about the defense and Hero Canoe a little bit earlier. That interior defensive line has been superb. Another season where we have no idea what to expect, and of course they've been superb. What's the attitude going to play a game against Jaden Ball, where he's really been the shining part of this Florida offense? Outside of that, not a lot to write home about. Are they excited and do you feel like this is a Texas team that's really excited to try and shut down this Florida team and just completely make a statement now in the SEC? We're not just good at shutting down smaller schools. We'll shut down everybody.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up because I actually asked Anthony Hill on Monday about the run game, because last time Florida played Texas, don't forget, they had over 200 yards rushing on this defense. And so I straight back to Ant, like, have you watched the tape from last year? And he's like, yeah, I watched it a lot. And, it sickens me the way they gave up explosive runs in that game. And so that definitely told me that they want to get right. They want to make sure that doesn't happen again. And of course, with the weather being a factor, I'm sure Florida's game plan is going to be a lot about running the football. But that's why I feel like the addition of Alex January is so big. And no one's really talking about him coming back, being healthy, because they have been playing well on defense. But, I spoke about Hero Canoe earlier. You know who Hero shouted out? Alex. He said Alex is one of the most imposing guys that he's ever had to play with. And, going back to his days in high school, I feel like he's always been kind of overshadowed. I was at the state championship game his senior year because I was honestly there to watch Colin at Duncanville. But who jumped off the page was Alex. There was a couple of times that they both got home together, and I'm like, hey, ain't that the kid that's also going to Texas? And you kind of wait and you see he didn't play last year, of course, because he had a lot of good defensive tackles last year. But now this is his time to shine, and he's become one of the leaders and one of the first guys out there on the defensive line for a reason. He's one of the leaders on that D tackle room, and I think him coming back, going against this run offense is going to be big time when it comes to stopping the run, because he was a big factor why Ohio State couldn't get their run game going in week 1.
You talked about Alex coming back, but on the offensive side, they're also getting Trey Wisner back, which is going to be massive. What kind of impact do you think he's going to have on this game? Not just, within the offense and his production, but also just his leadership on the field and what he can bring in the huddle in terms of kind of like what DeAndre Moore did against Sam Houston, calming guys down, getting guys in the right spots and those kinds of things.
Yeah, I think one thing that came to mind when you just said that was Michael Taff on Monday. He talked about when he was watching the games on Saturday this past weekend, he noticed a bunch of like situational awareness type players, guys that knowing the down and distance, guys that knows the sticks about, okay, how many yards you have to get to the first down. And he likes to kind of take note of which guys are really good at that. Such a Michael Tapp thing to do. But then we asked him, like, okay, so who's the situational awareness guys on this team? And he mentioned Trey. He said it feels like Trey always knows what exactly needs to get done in different situations. And, of course, like you mentioned, the leadership and just the energy. They call him kind of like the spark plug on the team whenever he's on the field. And so that's what's going to be added to this roster on Saturday, is that not only, of course, his talent, like you said, on this game plan and in the offense, but in the huddle when it's 3rd and 1 or when it's 3rd and 2, and you got to figure out how to get these yardage, or maybe they do a swing route and he knows you got to stick the ball out to get there to the first down. Those are the small, minute things that Trey can bring, that the experience that you get in SEC play that he already has can now play a factor. You don't got to trust dudes like Jared Gibson, Christian Clark, and James Simon. And I do like all those guys, right? I just want to point that out. But they're young. But they're young, and so they haven't went through a whole SEC schedule, and it's different when you do that. And so I think Trey Washington, that's going to be a big, big addition for this running back room.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a guy who's already been 1,000-yard rusher and he can add more to his game, like, why would I not want to see that guy continue to improve?
Yeah.
I want all the other guys to improve, but y'all can wait in line right now. You'll get to play. They'll all get to play, I'm sure, because Texas and running backs don't necessarily stay healthy.
I do want to say one more thing on that note, right? Because we got to understand Trey, this is his second year, like being like a running back, like this, he's still learning and still growing as well. And so I remember, I saw Trey on that same weekend when I watched Duncanville play. I also watched DeSoto play in the state championship against Vandergrift, and Trey played slot probably 75% of the game. Like, he wasn't lining up at running back. He was basically a receiver at DeSoto, comes over here, plays running back. And honestly, he wasn't doing much his freshman year. Of course, did a lot of special teams. And last year was kind of the first year he got thrown into a running back position. And before the season started, Kyle Flood said that he felt like Trey kind of took pride in being a running back this summer and learned how to be a true SEC running back, whether it's putting on more weight, whether it's learning how to follow his blocks a little bit better to kind of break those explosive runs. And we haven't been able to see it a lot because he hasn't been on the field. But that's why I'm expecting to see this SEC like schedule time is how has he changed as a running back, and the small minute things that they're learning behind the scenes about reading which keys to go to, which holes and stuff like that to break long runs. I'm excited to see Trey show that in SEC play. So yeah, definitely a big time addition.
All right, love it. All right, so we get to the Florida game on Saturday, 2:30. What do you see happening? What do you think? Do you think Texas can handle this, or is this going to be the same thing we've seen in the SEC so far all season, where maybe we're going to be sweating a little bit more than we want to be, sweating like we are in the swamp, which is going to be humid.
Yeah. yeah, it's going to be nasty. It's going to be a nasty game, I feel like, too. I think it's going to be low scoring. If I were the bet man, I would take the under. But I will say this. I was able to talk to Graham Hall from Swamp 247 on my podcast, Most Knows, earlier this week. And he talked about the injuries that Florida has on defense. And he was probably talking for like a minute about just naming guys left and right. I'm like, bro, that's like the whole roster. And so I think that's something that like no one's really talking about from Texas perspective. I don't think people understand how many players are really hurt on Florida's roster right now on both sides of the ball. And so that's why I feel like Texas will come out on top in this game. Not just because of like injuries, but I do think they have a better roster, healthy or not. But because they're not healthy, we got to factor that in. And so I think it's a low scoring game. I think Texas is able to show the run game really well. I think we see a lot of arch design runs, which I hope that we see, because, I told somebody this the other day. I'm starting to see why Arch enjoys watching Josh Allen so much, not comparing the two, but the play style. Like, they both played kind of the same way. Like a young Josh Allen, his first, second year in the NFL, he was reckless. He threw a lot of interceptions. He put his body on the line in situations he probably shouldn't have, but you could see the physical traits. And I see why Arch watches a lot of Josh Allen tape, because I feel like Arch can do similar things in his skill set. And so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of QB powers on 3rd and 5 or 2nd and 5, and just get Arch in that game where he can get hit. And with the rain being a factor, why throw it as much? And so I do think that Texas gets up early, forces Florida to throw the ball a little bit, which isn't a good recipe as so far this season. And they kind of control after getting off to a hot start in the swamp.
We got a score prediction for you, Corey?
Yeah, I'll do 24-13. I just don't think it's going to be, like I said, very high scoring. I like this defense, bro. Like this, the conversation is always about like, is Arch ready for the SEC? Is Arch ready for the SEC? Whoop-de-whoop. This defense is. I know that for sure. And so no one's really discussing how Ohio State, by the way, only put up 14 points on this defense. And only one of those drives came because of a bunch of penalties. And the other one because of a big time throw that got bobbled and it got caught. So, I mean, this defense is really good. And I just don't see a lot of teams really putting up 30, 35 points on these guys. And I think that's what it's going to take sometimes to beat Texas. And so that's why I think, 24-13, and I'm not really – I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people need to talk more about this defense being SEC ready because that's what's going to take them as far as they need to go.
No, I'm with you 100% on that one. Corey Moe is joining us from KView. You've got to follow him. He's a must follow for any Texas football fan at Corey_Mose on X and at Corey_Mose TV on Instagram. You have to follow him. Keep up with everything he's doing. Before we let you go, Corey, we are doing our SEC power rankings here in a little bit.
Okay.
Who do you have right now? I won't say down at the end of the season. Who do you have right now as the best team will be leading your power rankings in the SEC?
Best team in the SEC. That's a great question. Because they're all going through it. I will say this. I would just stick with my pick before the season. I said Texas was going to make the SEC championship against Bama. And they just beat Georgia. I think that first weekend was, of course, a shocker to a lot of people, them losing to Florida State. But it may be something that they needed, to get them back on track. And so they look great against Georgia in Athens. And Kalen DeBoer has kind of changed that offense a little bit from week one. And I'm starting to see, okay, this is what I expected Kalen DeBoer to do at Bama. And so that was my preseason pick. So I'm going to go with them right now being the best team in the SEC after just beating Georgia, who I would have said last week was the best team in the SEC. Yeah. So I'll go with Bama.
All right. I appreciate it. Anything else you want to plug, Corey, before we let you go?
Mo's Knows, baby. Tune in to Mo's Knows, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. It's my podcast. We usually just preview the game and talk to someone who covers the opposing team for Texas. And so just out for episode this morning. So go ahead and tune in today.
Yes. Must listen, must see, must follow for Corey Mose. Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll have you back on again soon, Corey. Appreciate you taking the time, man.
Anytime. Thank you for the invite.
Appreciate it.
There we go. Corey Mose, one of the best there in the business, always with a smile on his face, always doing a great job, and his coverage is second to none. Asks great questions of everybody. So appreciate him taking the time to join us because I know he is a busy man. We're going to continue on here. Matt, that was some good stuff there. Some of the players, he does go down and talk to the players every day. He covers high school football as well, so he knows the players in the Central Texas area that we get as well. No, Rodney, he was not. That's Corey Mose, one of the best in town. But yeah, he's great. But Matt, I also wanted to hit this before we go to the break. We talked about it a little bit, the Texas injury report that came out last night. It will be updated again. I think the biggest piece we saw on this injury report, Matt, is CJ Baxter. No one is listed as out, which, knock on wood, is probably the best thing we're seeing right now, is that nobody is out for this game. But CJ Baxter is listed as doubtful on this injury report. And that was someone we really assumed was going to be back and ready to play for this game. It may be them taking it easy. It may be in a slight setback somewhere this week. But that one will hurt for him personally, as CJ said, or as Corey said, that he's from Florida. He would love to play there. That would be that would be a big piece for him. So that would suck to lose that ability to do that because he probably won't be there the next time we play at Florida. He will not be on the team anymore. So you would expect that that would be sad if he's not able to get in. It's not out. So maybe maybe this was a Sark, get him to prove himself in practice. That's my hope. But it seems like, and Joe, it's a different injury. It's a completely different injury. So he was not rushed back too soon. They went slow with it. It's everything else. But it's just that one's probably the saddest one to see.
Yeah, it's disappointing. Hamstrings are tricky. You don't want to rush back from that whatsoever because it can get worse. I'm disappointed for CJ. I know he really wanted to get into this one. Fortunately, they have a very deep running back room, and they're going to be fine. But, you'd rather have him fully back 100% healthy for the stretch of the SEC play rather than, try to force him into this game just because it's a homecoming for him and all those different things. So,
yeah,
it's disappointing, but he'll be back eventually and he'll be fine.
No, and this would make me believe more that it is them being extra cautious with the hamstring and just like if you're still feeling any pain or if we're watching you and you're coming up, we don't want you to be there. So it may be that he had to miss too many practices, that why he's doubtful that they just don't want to, put him back in there if he hasn't practiced a ton. But that one's probably the biggest one that you're sad to see. Questionably, we see Emmett Mosley, Trey Wisner, and Kobe Black are your three on the questionable reports. Everyone's leaning like those are headed to questionable. If you look at the history of Sark injury reports, questionable usually is a light probable for Sark. His probables are like, I have to list them because of this. There's somebody who like went to the medical tent this week or, went over and took, they're spending a little bit more time in the trainer's room, and that's Manny Muhammad and Xavier Filsaime. So they're guys you just keep on your radar of in the game. Are they playing as many snaps? But Sark's injury reports are usually he leans more on the side of caution on them than on optimism, I'd say.
Yeah, I would expect all three of those guys to play. I don't think it's a Lane Kiffin situation where he's kind of manipulating the SEC availability report to a strategic advantage. But, if a guy's in the training room, he's going to list him as questionable more often than not. If there's any sort of question about whether or not he's going to be available, he'll just go ahead and put that designation on him. So I would expect all three of those guys to go.
Yeah, no, I would as well. And CJ Baxter, I'm saying, look, he's probably not going to play because it's a type of injury that you don't rush guys back from. But you never know. Maybe they let him suit up. Maybe they let him go in there for a play or something just to have something. Maybe have him in the sideline in a uniform, see how he reacts. Those are all possibilities because of what it means to him to play in the swamp, being from Florida. But there's a pretty decent chance they'll go ahead and just say, we don't want you to go through warmups. We don't want you to go through all this other stuff. But we will see as that continues on. On Florida side, they're just set up. They're out. Their guys are just out. No designations on any of them. Caleb Banks is out, the defensive lineman. You lose two of your DBs as well, and Dijon Johnson and Aaron Gates. That is great news for Arch Manning, as he's going to be able to attack this secondary a little bit more. LJ McCray also out for the season, or out for the time being. Those when you're losing guys who can attack you at the line of scrimmage, guys who go in, that defense is just really, really beat up. And when we talk about the offense has struggled, the defense is the place where they've been strong, and they're just really beat up on that one. How much depth can they have there with the injuries to still be as strong as they are, but then, going to 4 quarters when it's muggy and you're sweating out everything. And I hear they have a hydration system from Florida. I don't know. I've heard about it before. It's something that aids the Gators. I don't know, but it feels like there's a possibility that this is one that if you are able to continue to run against him all game and be consistent with it, by the 4th quarter, you should be able to run on this team pretty consistently, and you should be able to do what you want to do.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for Florida. And I feel like it's kind of a byproduct of the offense not being able to stay on the field, which is why that defense has gotten so beat up. Miami's a very, very physical team. I'm sure that didn't help anything, as is LSU. So, yeah, I mean, it really sucks for them. It's a huge break for Texas, but like, I never want to beat a team when they're down on injuries. So I wish all those guys were playing. Unfortunately, they're not. It should make things easier for Texas, though, which is good for Texas.
Yeah, I'm with you on all of that there, Matt. But yeah, nothing too surprising on the Texas injury report. Some guys that, Kobe Black and Filsaime and Manny Muhammad, you don't like to see on there. But, none of them are on the bad one. The main piece that you saw there was doubtful. So I don't know when they have to update it. I don't know if they update it Friday or Saturday. Like Friday, they updated it, right?
I think they'll update it today.
Do they update it every day? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's
I can't remember if they update it just like I can never remember if they update it every day or if they update it twice, basically, and then you get it. CB. Did you see this post, Matt, that CB's referencing?
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I love that it was on an Aggie board too. That it has
course.
nothing to do with them whatsoever, and yet they're still like, I was in a Chipotle behind John Mateer. he's definitely gonna play. Yeah, that's next level, CB. Love it. I love that. I love that delusion of everybody, and not the delusion that he's going to play, but the delusion that he's at a Chipotle telling people he's going to play. Seems more odd to me. Why don't we take our first break here, Matt? We'll come back. We'll get into our SEC power rankings and get into a little NFL talk as well. Big Thursday night football game tonight. An actual should be two good teams. We'll see what happens tonight. This one I'm interested to watch. I'll say that at least. I'm interested to watch what happens in tonight's game. So we'll get into that as we continue on here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
Now, stepping up to the plate is a household name, weighing in at roughly 115 pounds with a wingspan of 98 inches. It's Samsung.
Kid, I know it's baseball season, but this isn't what I meant when I said to incorporate sports into the company commercial.
Sorry, old man. I just want everyone to know that audiovisual consultations can make your home feel like a stadium.
That's true. Audiovisual provides stadium surround sound, huge screen video, controlled lighting, and even temperature control. On our roster, every customer is an MVP.
Sounds like audiovisual knows how to score a home run with our customers.
All right, kid, that's enough with the baseball puns.
But I'm trying to tell everyone that audiovisual is a real catch. You'll glove our services.
Kid?
There's nothing coming out of left field when you give us a call. We won't break your balls.
Kid, we only have a minute.
Pitch, please. I don't need your batitude right now.
Rest assured, listeners, audiovisual is much better at installing and designing custom home theaters than we are at making jokes.
Just check our stats. Give us a call at 512-255-8678 or visit us online at avconsultations.com.
You see covert everywhere. That personal level of just feeling like it's a personal family interaction.
The customer service, it's impeccable. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced buying a car.
Over the 30 years that I've been buying cars from them, I feel like I know them and they know me.
Covert's done an amazing job of making me feel valued. If you purchase a vehicle and you want to feel like you're part of a family, join the Covert family.
Come and experience it for yourself.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
BK here for OLIPOP. Man, this stuff is the game changer of all game changers. Their slogan is a new kind of soda, and that's exactly what it is. You get that same great soda taste, but OLIPOP is actually good for you. Inside of every can, a blend of 7 unique botanicals, plant fibers, and prebiotics. You're getting 9 grams of fiber in every can, only 2 to 5 grams of sugar, and man, the flavor is absolutely there. Classic soda flavors like cola, root beer, lemon lime, and Dr. Goodwin. That's their version of a Dr. Pepper, and some other great flavors as well. The grape, the cream soda, the cherry cola. It's all fantastic. I'm telling y'all, OLIPOP tastes just like the soda you grew up sipping, but with the added benefits of microbiome and digestive health support as well. Pick up OLIPOP at H-E-B, Target, Walmart, Whole Foods, and Costco all throughout the Austin area and the state of Texas. And head over to drinkolipop.com. Use the promo code TEXAS20 for a discount on your first purchase. It's OLIPOP, a new kind of soda.
Welcome back to Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. And, of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. The text line's open, 512-222-9328, or you can hit us up on the chats, Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. Always enjoy you hanging out with us. Big thanks to Corey Mose once again for joining the show. Some good stuff. I did like his little nugget he dropped there, Matt, of maybe this isn't the sack game because maybe they're just gonna sit back and let them kill themselves on offense. That seems like maybe that's part of the plan. I would still assume you're going to come after guys with the room you have, but maybe we'll see if they are playing more. Make sure to set the edge. Make sure to not allow guys to get outside of you.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what Miami did. They just kind of sat back in a cover 3 and swallowed up the receivers and didn't really give DJ a lot of opportunities to make plays downfield, but they did get a lot of pressure on him. It's really hard to sack the guy. They only had 1 sack, but it's that's kind of I think Corey's probably right about that. I think that they'll probably get home a couple more times than Miami did, because I think Colin Simmons is just primed for a breakout game. But for the most part, I do think Texas is just going to rush 4, drop everybody else back, and kind of make DJ beat you. And that could result in some coverage sacks.
Yeah, and I think too, Sark is probably and PK have probably been emphasizing rushing lanes, and you have to stay in your rushing lanes. You can win your one-on-ones with these guys on this Florida line. Don't worry about it. You will win them. But if you get out of your lanes, they're going to let you win, and Lagway is going to get to the outside. So stay in your lanes, because we definitely saw that with Colin Simmons early in the season, was he was getting outside of his passing lanes, and Ohio State was able to control where he went. And so you got to stay where you need to be in your rushing lanes for Texas. But I'm with you. I think, you're not going to have a lot of blitzes and exotic blitzes and trying to bring pressure that way. But from what we've seen from some of these other teams, they've had no problem getting pressure with 4-man blitzes and 4-man rushes, I should say.
Yeah, so. I totally agree. I would guarantee you that they hammered that home during the bye week for sure. Just be patient and it'll come.
I feel like that was very much like there was just a few things that are very about this team and what Sark wants to do and what PK wants to do that you feel this week. The perimeter blocking. This is what we're doing this week. The rushing lanes, trusting your other defenders. This defense is awesome. Trust us in what we are calling will work if you are in the right spots at the right time. You guys will screw this up more than we will, which is not always true, but if you're in the right place, then it's not your fault when the play breaks down. Even if you don't get to the quarterback, if you're at your right spot, you're doing good enough. So I think we'll see more and more of that this week. I would say that the sack numbers probably are lower than people think, where some people may think it'll be 5 sacks. I would say it's probably closer to 2 to 3 because I don't think you're going to try and bring those big blitzes up the middle that really kill a quarterback. Especially like a DJ Lagway, where it's like Anthony Hill or LaFau or somebody like that just busting through the middle and they step up into a linebacker. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but we will see what happens on Saturday. I'm getting excited for the game now. It's, you know what I mean? Like you kind of got to work into it once we get into the regular season. You get a bye week, get a little off it. So getting excited for the game. But let's get to our SEC power rankings. I know I asked Corey about it because I was watching your face though, to see if you were like, you better say Ole Miss. You better say Ole Miss. Let's get into our SEC power rankings. Let's see if I can pull up this picture real quick of what we had last week. I was trying to figure out how to manipulate this while we're doing it live. I could not find a way to make it work. The screen share would not pick up the programs I was trying to use to do this. That would make it work. So we will make it work the best we can. But I've made it a little bit easier for me to shift these around now. So here is our Open Gym Power Rankings for last week, where we had Georgia at number 1, LSU at 2, Texas A&M at 3. Then we had our Giants Tier 2 teams, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Missouri, Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama. Guessing Alabama's going to jump a little bit. I have a guess that they may move up a bit. That maybe that one loss to Florida State is not going to hurt them as much anymore. We're going to move past that. Then we get Auburn, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, South Carolina. Vandy might move up again. They're playing well. I think eventually they'll end up somewhere around this, but we'll see what they do. If they win this week, who knows? And then Arkansas, Florida, and Kentucky there at the end of it. So Matt, the discussion begins. Is Alabama or is Ole Miss the number 1 team? Those are your 2 options, basically. Am I wrong that those are the 2 options? Is there a third option?
No, there's not a third option.
Alabama and Ole Miss are the top 2 teams in the SEC. One is 1, one is 2.
Well, no, I don't necessarily think that's the case.
Okay.
I don't think that there's another option other than Ole Miss.
You don't think there's any other option than Ole Miss?
No, I don't, because they're undefeated and they have the best win out of anybody in the SEC outside of Alabama, who does have the loss on their record.
They do have a loss on their record. It's not a conference.
So
they have a loss.
It is a loss. It's not a conference loss, but it's an embarrassing loss to a team that just got beat by Virginia.
I agree.
I think Ole Miss has to be number 1, and I don't think there's any question about it.
I think there's question about it still. I will put up fight that there is question about it because I still am not. Because again, I'm not sold on LSU. I think LSU may be be ranked too high because Brian Kelly does not have this team ready to play football. So that's why I think that win will not end up being one of the best wins when LSU loses 3 or 4 games. I think that win will go down a little bit. I still think Ole Miss easily could be the best team because they have got the win. For me, I'm waiting also that they had a really hard time with Arkansas and Kentucky. That one weighs a little bit on my mind as well. That I'm like, they weren't able to put away some teams that they should have been able to put away. Like Sam Pittman was almost already fired. Mark Stoops may be fired before the end of the season. Your 2 wins that were close early on, maybe 2 guys that are already fired. So I went there. I'm not opposed to putting Ole Miss at number 1. They were at 4 before. They did get a big win over the team we had at number 2. So I'm not opposed to putting Ole Miss at number 1. I just want to put back some sort of fight against this because if I don't put up a fight now, Matt, you're just going to be like, we can't move them. I know they lost the last 3 weeks. They're the number 1. I'm calling your professionalism into. So we'll move them in.
Well, I think that the only other conversation for number 1 is Texas A&M. So unless you want to put Texas A&M number 1, it's Ole Miss.
I still think it's Alabama. I think Alabama has shown us that was a misstep early in the season, and they're a really, really good football team.
That's why I have them at number 3.
Okay. All right. A&M's played well too. But yeah, I think that Alabama is in a conversation for that. A&M just doesn't have the signature win yet for me to put them up there. At number 2. Or sorry, number 1. Number 1. Yeah, but that doesn't matter. Matt, remember the 18-wheeler package beat Notre Dame back. It doesn't always mean it's great.
They beat a top 5 team.
They did beat a top 5 team.
It was a top 5 team at the time.
I get it. I'm putting it in there. We're putting it in. We have Ole Miss at 1, Texas A&M at 2, Alabama at 3. Now the question is, does anyone else belong in tier 1 now? Yes. Does Georgia still belong in tier 1? Does LSU still belong in tier 1? Did anybody else move up into tier 1 now? Who do you like at number 4, and are they a tier 1 team?
I like Georgia at number 4. I do think they're a tier 1 team.
Okay.
For sure.
I'm not opposed to that. I think LSU drops to tier 2 now because they just have not looked like the team we thought they were going to be yet.
Mm-hmm.
They had some wins, but like that Clemson win is now completely devoid of meaning, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a good win, but also Clemson lost to Syracuse. Like that win does not carry the weight we thought it was going to carry.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't even have LSU at number 5.
Okay, no. So I'm going through it. I'm with you. Let me do my work over here. I'm trying to make this graphic as quickly as I can. Trying to set it up. An easy way to do this so we can switch it over and show it over there in a minute. All right. So we have Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Alabama, and Georgia in our tier 1. Tier 2 now, starting with team 5. If I can do that. Get that over there. All right. Tier 5, tier 2, your number 5 team. In this conversation, you can go LSU, Tennessee, Missouri, Texas are all kind of in that conversation, I think. Oklahoma's not far off of it because they haven't really lost yet. They're going to win by, 40 points against Kent State probably this week. So they'll still be in it going into Texas. But there's some good teams. I mean, we know Missouri and Tennessee continue to win and play well. Who do you have at team 5, Matt?
I've got Missouri just because they've been dominant all year. I know they haven't really beaten anybody of note, but their best win is South Carolina. They looked really good in that game. They beat Kansas very handily. I think they have been more impressive looking to me so far than Tennessee has. It's very close. It's very close.
No, I'm with you. I'm not opposed to that at all. I think that there is some very true fact. Like they've been playing really good football. Everything that they've been asked to do, they have done well. So I think that it's a solid pick for Tennessee there. I think it's 7. Do we throw LSU at 7 now?
We can.
I think we leave.
We were at 6. We're at 6.
All right, 6. Sorry. Yeah. So we throw Tennessee's at 6, LSU's at 7, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Which moves Texas into 8. I mean, because technically, other than that, we're going to throw LSU all the way down into the Alabama spot at 9.
I'd be fine with that, but I don't think they can drop that far.
I don't think either, because as much as I think Texas is a better team, I have to wait till after this week to move them up. And you know what I mean? So I'm going to give LSU another week because I don't want to completely drop them down. They did play they're playing a good Ole Miss team that we're saying is now the best team. We're saying they've already won some games. They already beat Florida, so I'm going to give them that they're at 7, Texas at 8, Oklahoma's at 9 then, right? Do we feel good about that, or are we moving up a Vanderbilt in this scenario?
Well, I can't move Oklahoma behind Vanderbilt yet.
They haven't really lost. The quarterback's hurt.
Yeah, so I'm fine leaving them at 9, putting Vanderbilt at 10.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that as well. Move Vanderbilt up to 10. Now, I will say, as much as I don't want to do this because, it's harder work, do we put Vanderbilt up in tier 10 and tier 2?
I think you have to at this point.
Like, I don't it still seems somewhat disrespectful there, but they feel like they've at least earned being a tier 2 team, right?
Yeah, they have.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to save yourself some work, they're going to get some work. They're going to get their brains beaten in this weekend by Alabama. But
I'm already doing it.
But they're tier 2 right now.
Okay, so we got Vanderbilt there. And then our tier 3 will come in with all right. So there's your tier 2 is Missouri at 5, Tennessee at 6, LSU at 7, Texas at 8, Oklahoma at 9, Vanderbilt at 10. And now that brings us in to tier 3. Who do you have in tier 3, Matt?
I've got Mississippi State at 11. I just think they're the best of this group of teams.
Yeah, I mean, there's part of me that doesn't want to. That I still think Auburn has a couple more wins in them, but Mississippi State's played well. You know what I mean?
They took Tennessee to overtime.
Yeah, so I think that you just got to give a little bit more respect to Mississippi State there. So I'll move them up, and we'll knock Auburn down there. Mississippi State. Did we even see? I didn't even see what South Carolina did this week.
South Carolina beat
Were
Kentucky,
they off this
I think.
They beat Kentucky. All right.
Yeah, they beat Kentucky.
All right. So nothing too fancy for South Carolina to move up in the rankings. So do we go 11, 12, and 13 is Mississippi State, Auburn, and South Carolina?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right. And then our tier 4, do they move at all? Does Arkansas and Florida switch? I mean, Florida's in a bye week, so it's not like they did anything, but Arkansas fired their coach.
Yeah, I think you can flip them.
I just think the fact they fired their coach makes me feel like it's okay to flip them.
Yeah, Florida may fire their coach after this week, so
they may. But, and then I'm going to give, I'm just trying to give Texas a preemptive boost here. It's all a ploy.
I mean, Kentucky might fire their coach after this week, too.
I feel like Kentucky's okay losing, though. Like, I feel like they are more likely to keep Mark Stoops until the end of the year and just not win a game. And then be like, all right, we fired him at the end of the year. Didn't pay any sort of, like, extended buyout or anything like that. All right. So I think we're good there.
Do you think that Arkansas would beat Kentucky on a neutral field?
Yeah. Taylor Green. Oh, give him Taylor Green.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That's it. No one else on that team. Taylor Green, I will say I have respect for, and that's probably the most I can give out of it. Is I think he's really electric and could at least make it fun. They had some better games this year. Arkansas I know played all right too. I don't know. Clayton, I believe, is 6.5. Last I saw.
Let me take a look real quick. It's actually dropped to 4.5.
4.5. Texas Florida is 4.5.
According to ESPN Bet.
Wow.
It's at 4. It's at the spread is at 4.5.
That money's coming in on Florida, huh?
Over under is at 42.5. Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's coming in on Florida to cover, not necessarily to win. But
no,
yeah.
I get that, but they're people are believing that the Texas offense is subpar, is what I believe they're saying. It's subpar, this Texas offense. I really hope Arch lights them up. I mean, for multiple reasons, but it'd be a lot of fun to have everybody be like, okay.
Well, see, this is what's going to happen though, Patrick. If Arch does light them up, the overwhelming narrative is going to be, oh, it's just Florida. They're injured. Like, they're a middle school team. They suck. It doesn't matter. Wait till he plays Mississippi State. And then he's going to light up Mississippi State. And then they're going to say, just wait till he plays Georgia. It's going to go on like that until he plays well against Georgia.
Man, you're no love for the people who are, hate mongering and
it's always the same people, Patrick. It's
there's
always the same people.
There's a business in it now, and it's very annoying that there's a business in it now. I don't appreciate it. I am not a fan of the business of it now.
And the annoying thing is, I bet that the majority of the people who are saying these things aren't watching Texas play. They're just listening to other people who still haven't watched Texas play.
No, then don't break down the film. Don't do it all. I believe this is our new rankings. Does this look right to you, Matt?
That looks right to me. Nice job, Patrick. Very quick work.
I'm trying to get better at this so I can get it put out quicker and finding ways to make it. So I did a lot of work today in prep. The prep is important, but so there's your tier 1 now is a 4-team tier. You got that giant tier in tier 2 because it is like that's basically everyone who you're like have basically tier 2 for me is now not enough information.
Yeah, you can say it that way. I think that's a good description.
Like Oklahoma is still, if they come out and they win 2 games without John Matera, he comes back right after the Texas game, and they win, they're still fully in it to win the SEC. With that, I mean, the defense is good. The offense hasn't figured it out, but maybe Jay Knott comes back after a bye week and is finally healthy and he plays better. But like you're saying all the way to 9, I still don't believe 10. Some people do. Diego Pavia is getting Heisman votes now. So maybe Pavia, and Vanderbilt are in that conversation. Now, Mississippi State, I just cannot believe that happening. Or Auburn or South Carolina at this point coming back and winning the SEC. They just have too many weaknesses. But you're like, there's 10 teams who, if you told me they will win the SEC, you could make the argument.
Yeah.
It goes down further and further as you go down. But tier 2 is just like, I'm not saying that you're a bad team. I just don't have enough information yet on you.
Well, and see, the only thing I disagree with there is I don't think it goes down the further. Like when you get to Vanderbilt, it does.
Yeah.
But I think there's more of a chance for Texas to win the SEC than Missouri or Tennessee.
Well, when I say
LSU.
that, I mean it goes down from tier 1. I'll say that. It goes down from
sure.
Yeah, That's what I mean. Tier 1 is like, if you tell me this, there's not much argument need to be made that they will be playing for an SEC championship. And then tier 2 is like, all right, you got to kind of sell me on it, but I can still believe it.
Yeah. I mean, I bet if Alabama plays Georgia in the SEC championship, Alabama wins the SEC. But if they played Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Texas, LSU, probably not LSU, but like Tennessee or Missouri, I couldn't tell you who would win that game right now.
No, I'm with you. Speaking of the SEC, Eli Drinkowitz was on, I think, Wake Up Barstool is where he was at, which is already something that I don't want to believe exists. But look, everybody can have their own channel. There's 9 trillion ways to watch things now. Everybody can watch their own things. And he came out today or was on the show this morning and came out against, once again, that he does not like the committee. does not believe in the college football playoff committee, thinks it's a bad thing. And what he said is, we don't have football games anymore. We have beauty pageants. I don't quite know what that means. I think I know what he was going for, but it doesn't. I don't think it works. I don't think the analogy really works. But his basic premise was, I believe, speaking out of school here, all the non-conference games are kind of BS. And you're just trying to put up, and so you're trying to put up 70 points on somebody so you look better. And then you're trying to put up all these extra points so you look like a better team. Even if you wouldn't beat me hand to hand, you're just trying to really beat this other team worse. So what we should do is play a really, really extended playoff. And he is fighting for it once again, that all the conferences should have play-in games and everybody else. And here's my take on this, Eli. If you're listening, I know Eli Drinkowitz is a constant listener. Here's my take on this. What the hell do you think the regular season is? What do you think conference play is? That we can't, that's not enough? That's not your play-in? These are the play-in games, Eli. Conference play is your play-in games. If you win those, you get to play for the conference championship, you get in. If you don't have to win by 90. You win in the SEC, you get in. It's that cut and dry, Eli. Cut and dry. You went out in the SEC, you lose one game in the SEC, you're probably going to be in the playoffs and you can move on. But if you want to lose 3 games in conference play, and then say I still deserve a shot, then we don't need to play the regular season. Because no one's going to watch it anymore. Because we're going to throw out everything that made college football great. ESPN Game Day, everybody. Who cares? Doesn't matter. You can lose 3 or 4 of these and still make the play-in. You just got to be good at the end. Rest your players. Don't play your guy. No, he's got a little banged up knee. We're going to sit him for 3 weeks. Who cares? We can win. We'll only really try in the games that don't matter because we're only going off records. So we're only going to try against Mississippi State and Arkansas, and those we won't even really. We get down, we'll pull all of our starters. Who cares?
Yeah,
it seems. I get that's hyperbole. I get that's over the top. I get it, but the fact that college football has existed for all of these years on the premise that regular season is the matters, and that's why it's great. Because every game you can live or die. And they've started to take that away. And the thought is not, hey, let's try and preserve this last vestige of something that was really great about college football. It's let's stomp on it until it dies.
There are a few coaches who have this point of view, maybe not necessarily to the same extreme that Eli Drinkwitz does. But what it screams to me is we're not a power. If we don't go undefeated, then we have no, that's their mindset. If we don't go undefeated, we're not going to make the playoff. And we don't think we're ever going to go undefeated. So we're never going to make the playoff. And it's just trying to find different ways to kind of poke the system and turn it into a thing of, oh, woe is me. We're not Alabama. We don't get the same national recognition. It doesn't matter what we do. Wah, 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 wah. Yeah. That's all. And I also still think there's something to the effect of he's trying to be this outside of the box, quirky, funny thinker like Mike Leach, and he's just failing miserably at it because he doesn't carry the same weight and the same aura that Mike Leach did. So he's just making himself look like a jackass. And I can't stand it. It's so stupid. Like, the regular season is an audition to be good enough to play in the playoff. That's the whole point of the regular season. It's always been an audition to see who's the best team at the end of the year. And if you take that away, it ruins college football. Like, college basketball is moving to what is it, 78 teams now?
They're trying to do that because that's what we were saying at the beginning of the show is why I don't trust the NCAA, because they don't have the best interest of anything in mind other than their pocketbooks.
Yeah, and if you're getting to a point where there's 78 teams in basketball, there's probably, I don't know, 20 or 18 teams that probably don't need to be in there anyway. Maybe at least 14 teams that don't need to be in there anyway. So what, you want to start doing that to college football now, where like nothing matters until you get to the postseason? You can go 500 and still like stop it.
Oh, by the way, we're probably also about to go to 16 games or 16 teams in the playoff. We're about to go there. So this whole let's go to 30, let's do this. And you're like, Eli, if you cannot be 10-2, you should not be playing for a national championship. You should be able to fit the trend because, again, back in the day, and also you're saying that every national championship we're going to have to do it like baseball, where it's like, well, there's the old records and then there's the real records, because old records don't, like, you can't compare them because the old records were played in a different, like, it was a different game.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like you're going to have to do that with college football to go, well, these are the national champions when some people maybe got screwed out of it, but these guys were really, really, really good. And then here's a national champions that lost 4 regular season games, and got hot at the right time, and injuries kind of gave them a path to the finals, and they won a big game. And you're like, that's not the same as a team going undefeated and playing for a national championship. It's not the same. I get you got to play more. I get all of those things. It just that one is, again, like him doubling down on we need to have more and more teams. And the fact that you're like, you're in the SEC. You already got, I get if you're in the Big 12 arguing for this.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the Big 12, 100, I don't fault you at all for asking for a 30-team playoff, because there's no way you're getting in unless you go undefeated or win the Big 12. Like, you're like, if I don't win the Big 12, I'm not getting in.
Yeah.
And so I get if you're in the Big 12, you're like, we need more representation for us to get in. But this feels to me much more of, so Sark was asked today about it. I can't play the clip because it's 4.5 minutes long. But Sark was asked today about expectations. So we talked about this a little bit yesterday on the SEC coaches call, that, fans having to maybe alter their expectations of what a college football season is, because the atmosphere has changed and the rules have changed. So to go, you can't expect us to be compared to winning 10 games and going 10-0 and 16-0. Those are two separate worlds. We're playing over 50% more games if we're winning, right? So you can't compare. So, and we're playing tougher non-cons. We're doing all this. So, I think he's saying every school has their own metrics to judge by, but maybe we shouldn't, now that the vitriol comes in, that a guy loses 2 games, and like the fact that Kalen DeBoer, they're like, we should fire Kalen DeBoer. I think that's more of what Sark's talking about. Is like, you can't just always be like, we got to fire the coach. It's not always that. Sometimes maybe your expectations should change a little bit, as opposed to we're going to win every single game or fire everyone who's responsible for the loss. That he went a long way to say that. And also to say, it maybe if your school is not as big and you're just trying to win there, don't hold them up to national championship standards, because you're not. Like, so I think, the firing of Mike Gundy probably hit these coaches a little hard because they felt like some guys were safe. And that really put it the edge of like, nobody's safe. This guy, they're going to name the stadium after him, and he got fired.
Yeah. I mean, this is a sport where nobody is safe.
Yeah.
But even as much as Mike Gundy struggled last year and to start this year, you thought eventually he was going to at least figure it out enough to be bowl eligible, which is all they really care about over there.
Yeah.
So and you thought they were going to give him time to figure it out.
Yeah.
So with him gone, it's not the same thing whatsoever.
Yeah.
But the idea of nobody is safe is kind of like what happened in the NBA this year. When you trade Luka, it's like anybody can be traded now. So if you start to fire coaches after one down year, anybody could get fired. It doesn't matter how long you've been there.
Yeah.
Because the demand is so high for success because of the college football playoff.
Well, yeah. And we like throw in Dabo Sweeney and people being like, we should go for Dabo's job. And and you're like, good Lord, that guy won you a title a couple years ago. People going after Ryan Day, and then he wins the title. I think there's a thing where coaches are in the fraternity of college football coaches being like, this is ridiculous. Like, what do they expect? We can't all go undefeated all the time. It's not how this works. So I get Sark saying that in one sense, but this feels like Eli Drinkowitz going in the way of what every fan hates, which is, well, if we all just get into the playoffs, then aren't you all happy? And that way we can all keep our jobs. And like, none of us care if you keep your jobs. If you're losing, you will eventually lose them. Now, I think, there's people like myself who usually believe in giving a longer leash to people. And then there's people who believe that, giving Billy Napier another year may have been too long of a leash. But like there's those lines between we should fire everybody right away and then, we should give everybody 4 years, even if it's really going downhill. We should give them a couple years rebuttal. Like Mac Brown at Texas. We saw the piece with Mac Brown that when it started to go downhill, if he wasn't Mac Brown, I want to tell, in today's age, Mac Brown would have lost his job 2 to 3 years earlier than he did. When it started to go downhill and recruiting started to go downhill and everything else, the calls would have been for his job so much faster, even though he won us a title, even though he's a legend and should have a statue out in front of DKR, like 100%. And you're like, at the time, it was probably the right thing. It did set Texas back. And when people look at that and go, look how hard it was for Texas, because then the next coach they hired was the wrong hire. And now they're just year after year trying to get back into the conversation. I think that's why you see so many people being more vocal about it, plus social media, plus everything else. So I get that other side of it. But if your response to that is Eli Drinkowitz saying everybody gets in, I hate the everybody gets a trophy phrase because it's always said by the people who gave the kids the trophy. But it drives me out of my mind. You kids and you got your trophies. Who gave them to us? I never once bought my own trophy, not once. I was given trophies and then I found them. By the way, if you're a parent and you have a box of your kids' trophies and there's participation ones in there, just go in and throw those out. No one wants to be in their 30s helping their parents clean out a storage unit, find a box of trophies, and like the first 5 you pull out are all participations. No one in their 30 wants to get a bunch of ribbons that were like, you tried. Nobody wants that. So go ahead and get rid of those. Save your adult kids some pain later in life. Not that it happened to me. Right. But yeah, it go ahead.
I was just gonna, I don't want college football to turn into like the NHL, where like an NHL team, maybe I'm being a little bit hyperbolic about this, but like it feels like an NHL team will hire a new coach.
Yeah.
Like Barry Melrose, I think, is a good example of this. He got hired by the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they started I don't know what the record was, but it was like 2-8 or something in the first 10 games, and they fired him after like 10 games. It's like, that's what I feel like college football could be turning into if we don't kind of, reel in the expectations of it's really hard to get a program in college football back on track. And it's not like a professional sport where you can just trade and draft and, you have the transfer portal and you can get better faster, but it's still not the same thing.
No, I do believe too. I think football is probably the most coaches are most important in football. That you can really tell a bad coach from a good coach in football. And in basketball, if you have good players, you can still win games.
Mm-hmm.
You won't win titles, but you'll still win games. In football,
Avery Johnson got to an NBA Finals.
Hey, you leave my Spurs and the little general out of your mouth, talking about the little general. That was my dude, man. Still my favorite Avery Johnson story ever too was that he went to New Mexico State, I think. And when he got recruited, his parents were worried because AJ didn't speak Spanish. And they were like, New Mexico's in the U.S. He's not leaving the country. But that's where he came from. His parents' little backwoods Louisiana there. So, but yeah, we'll go through that. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. The Eli Drinkowitz saying, I get you want to save your job. You want to be clever like Mike Leach. Let's go win football games, dude. Let's go. Stop trying to ruin college football. Let's go win football games. Wanted to hit a couple things in the Jerry Jones hour here, Matt, before we get to Thursday Night Football and talking a little bit about the Chargers and the Rams and the 49ers. Sorry, wrong LA team. Rams and the 49ers. Matt Stafford coming out on Thursday. This may be his clone. We'll see. But the Jerry Jones hour, I did see the report that Jaden Blue looks like he will get his first active play of the season, with Miles Sanders most likely being out for this game with injury. Jaden Blue playing. Do you expect Jaden Blue to get carries and get some run, or is this going to be he's active, but he's emergencies only?
I feel like he'll get a couple of carries because I feel like the Cowboys against the Jets, I feel like have a pretty good secondary. The most they've given up this year so far is to Aaron Rodgers in week 1. I think he had 244 yards passing, but they held Josh Allen under 200. They held the last team they played under 200 as well, I think. Or no. Yeah, they held the last team they played under 200 as well. So I feel like this is going to be a game where they kind of focus on the running game a little bit more because you got Sauce Gardner out there. You got a pretty decent secondary. So Javonte Williams could get a lot of run. And he's going to need to get spelled a couple of times. So I think he's probably going to get a few carries. Maybe not a ton, but he'll get in there a couple times. Maybe he'll break something big and give himself an opportunity for more opportunities down the line. But I don't expect him to necessarily come in there and get like 10 carries or 12 carries or something like that, like Miles Sanders would.
No, I don't either. I expect him to be under 5, which is sad. But here's what I'm really curious to see is, does he sit back in pass pro at all?
I doubt that.
That's the question for me. It's like, if they leave him in pass pro, then it's just fumbles, right? That's be like he clearly is like fumbling or something else is the problem. There's something else. Because Jaden Blue, I love Jaden Blue. There are a few question marks about Jaden Blue, like that we've always known. The whole taking the senior year off. There's different stories about him taking that senior year off. The Senior Bowl where he just did not, like the day before, didn't show up, and his mom called. So there's some things that in his past that you hope he moves past. And look, even if he still has issues, there's plenty of people who can move past it. I brought up Jameis Winston a week or so ago about a guy that it's so awesome to see how far he's come as a human being. So none of those things are unbeatable. But you could believe maybe there's a disconnect somewhere for Jaden Blue, that in college you get protected a little bit more away from that because they're like, well, we just need to use your talent. So we will protect the other parts of this a little bit more. Hopefully it is something as simple as you just got to improve your blocking, because if it's just that, that's very fixable. So we're hoping that that's this. I'm just really curious to see him play this week and see if he gets in, see what they put him in, what scenarios. If they try and get him the ball on the outside, throw him the ball a little bit more. Javonte Williams has been really good, but you're like, if you could work Jaden Blue in there with Javonte Williams, you could have that running attack could be impressive, which you haven't had in a while, especially with the ability to throw the ball when CeeDee Lamb comes back. You could build even more into your offense. You're going to have to score 50 anyway, so you might as well try and get all the weapons you can.
I'm looking at the Cowboys injury report right now.
Yeah.
Kevontae Turpin, DNP, Tyler Smith, Miles Sanders, CeeDee Lamb, Malik Hooker, Tyler Guyton, Tyler Booker, all DNP.
Yeah.
Do not practice. Kalen Carson, Trevon Diggs, Jonathan Mingo, Kenneth Murray, all limited. Marshawn Nealon limited as well. If Kevontae Turpin is out in this game, that's another opportunity for him to come in and be a little bit more of a gadget guy.
Yeah.
Because they'll need to replace that production at some point, whether it's on kick returns or whatever the case. So there will be opportunities. It's a dreadful injury report. Like, the Cowboys are so beat up.
They're very beat up.
So I don't even know if they're going to cover. I don't know what the spread is. This might be a rough game for them. I don't know.
It is, and I'll tell you the other reason that I was looking at the game and starting to look at that game a little bit more, and like watching what Justin Fields does. Like, I'm not so worried about the secondary this week even. Like, they're going to be bad. We know that. But I'm worried about Justin Fields running for 150 yards on him.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know, like, you saw Jalen Hurts had no problem running on him. He did whatever he wanted and just basically kept picking up first downs. Every time you felt like you had the Eagles stopped, he just run for like 12 yards and pick up a first down. Russell Wilson didn't have to do a lot, but still ran the ball effectively in the Giants game. Caleb Williams didn't really run the ball, and neither did Jordan Love. Jordan Love still averaged pretty decently in the game. I think Caleb Williams was the only one who didn't run the ball well against the Cowboys, but they threw the ball all over him, so it wasn't a problem. And that may be more of also a Ben Johnson thing of like, I don't need you to be mobile. I want you to throw the ball. Get rid of the ball. Don't have it. So, but that question is we know the quarterback's not great, but if he can run on you, are you going to be able to beat this offensive line to the edge and beat Fields to the edge and do that? I don't know if this Cowboys team can do that. And it could lead to a whole different set of problems than just getting the ball downfield, throwing a couple of easy passes to Garrett Wilson, a couple other guys there. Braylon Edwards also on the injury report, may be out this week. So you're looking at mostly Breece Hall, and then maybe Davis, I believe, is the other name on there for the Jets. But Fields, this could be a Fields run the ball day for the Jets.
Yeah, I could see that. I think you just, you mentioned it. I think you just got to watch the Eagles tape and be like, okay, these guys can't stop anything with a mobile quarterback. So let's kind of lean into that. That's Justin Fields' strength anyway. Breece Hall is a really good running back, so we can kind of use that tandem to kind of confuse the defense a little bit, very similarly to Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. I think that would be good for them. I wouldn't be shocked though. Like I know that he hasn't been great passing the ball downfield or really passing the ball at all this year, but the secondary is so bad. I feel like anybody's going to be able to. Watched Russell Wilson through for like 460.
I know,
and he was able to run on him a little bit. He had a couple of runs in there.
That's what I'm saying. He averaged
vintage
like 70
Russ
yards.
Is back.
Vintage Russ back on the bench. Tell you that much. Jackson Dart's coming in, winning them games with no Malik Neighbors. So that was a little piece there. Why don't we hit our break real quick and then come back, hit Thursday Night Football as well, Matt, as we get a little preview of that game. See if Matt is on board, if Matt Stafford gets another win in this, or somehow the 49ers just figure it out, even though half of their rosters on the sideline hurt. We'll get into that on a Thursday Night Football game. Thursday day edition, afternoon edition of Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
Hi, I'm Dan Covert with my wife Hayden. Welcome to Covert BK.
Our newest location in the gorgeous Hill Country includes Buick, GMC, Cadillac, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and hundreds of pre-owned and certified vehicles for you to choose from. We have 3 service departments that are ready to take care of your car, truck, or SUV with 86 service bays to accommodate any repair and get you in and out quickly. Come visit us today to select the vehicle you've been dreaming about.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations, and we would like to take a moment to thank all of our clients for making the last 37 years both fun and fruitful. If you haven't yet, I'd like to invite you to give us a try for all your home electronics needs. There's no need to leave your home to find great pricing and incomparable service. No traffic, inexperienced sales geeks, or pushy showroom tactics. We come to you. So just relax, hug your kids, and smile. We handle all the work. Just give us a call at 255-8678 or online at avconsultations.com.
Say hello to Jason and the gang over at Relax the Back. They embrace a holistic approach for a healthier lifestyle based on 35 years, folks, of proven expertise, and my back couldn't be happier. Their motto is live wellness, and folks, they can transform your routine, your daily routine, into something very, very special if you have back pain. If you're struggling with thoracic problems, if you've got hip problems, if you've got lumbar problems, please go over to one of their stores. They got 2 great locations, and find out a chair or a recliner or a sofa that's going to fit you and going to make your life a whole lot better. I've got this office chair right here that I've been sitting in for years, and I love it. 2 locations, folks, at the Hill Country Gallery across from Whole Foods, and in North Austin at the Gateway Shopping Center across from the Container Store. Live pain-free like the buck and Relax the Back.
SendTexTickets.com. If you're in the market for tickets to any sporting event, any concert, any Broadway show, anything live coming to town, you got to head over to SendTexTickets.com. The best seats to all of the biggest events, not just here in Austin, but all over the state and all over the country. as well. It's so easy to use. Just log on your phone or computer to sendtexttickets.com. All of their tickets are 100% guaranteed, and they will be delivered right to your phone or computer. So simple to use, and you're also helping to support a local business every time you shop. sendtexttickets.com. So if you want to be at the biggest events in sports and entertainment, there's only one place to go. It's sendtexttickets.com.
Back here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered, wrapping it up here on a Thursday edition of the show. We get a big Thursday night football game tonight. 8.5 points is the spread on this one because of the injuries to San Francisco. I'm trying to pull up the injury report of just everybody. We know Brock Purdy's out. Jawan Jennings is out. Ricky Pearsall's out. Jordan Watkins is out. That's a lot of wide receivers out. Are not even mentioning Brandon Ayuk, who has been out all season. They just are really, really hurt at that position. Mac Jones is going to be throwing to nobodies, but Christian McCaffrey's still around. George Kittle's still around. So there's a couple guys still on this roster. Matt, what do you think about this Thursday night football game?
I mean, I expect the Rams to win. I say this every time we talk about Thursday night football, but these games get drunk.
Yes.
And they're weird, especially when you get into short weeks. So I don't know. I feel like the Rams should cover this football game. I feel like their defense is good enough to really stifle Christian McCaffrey, because I feel like that's all they got right now. I don't think I can pick them to cover because it's Thursday night football. I always hate it. Like I never want to take the the favored team in any sense. So it's a rough one.
Yeah, no, it is for sure. I mean, I think the 8.5 kills me, because you're like, it's probably going to be close because it is Thursday night football, and these tend to be close. I will say, if you want to watch some college football, I'm taking the over on Logan Fife yards. New Mexico State is playing Sam Houston, so I'm taking the over on the quarterback from New Mexico State against that Sam Houston secondary, because boy howdy are they not good. So I'm gonna take Logan Fife is the name you want to look for. Logan Fife tonight in your college football. Also, there was a basketball game today. Basketball is starting up, Matt.
Oh boy.
Camp started on Monday. 76ers and Knicks, they're in Abu Dhabi because everybody's over in Abu Dhabi now. It's taking that money. The Knicks won there, so we've seen that. The Pelicans play Melbourne United on Friday as well. And then I think the Spurs' first game is on Monday against somebody who's a foreign team. They're playing the Long Lions. Spelled Loong. So I don't know if they're called Long or Loong or something like that. The Lions. They take on a Monday evening. So that's when you can watch your Spurs play for the first time. I don't believe any of the Texas teams play before then. I don't think so. Maybe a look. No, I don't think we have anything before then for any of the Texas teams other than the Spurs, and then the Rockets and everybody kick off on Monday. Monday, you'll get to see some Spurs. The Mavs play the Thunder on so you'll see Cooper Flagg maybe making his debut. Rockets, maybe Kevin Durant's no way he's playing in preseason, but that's already happening, Matt. It's coming. You can't stop it. And it does lead us to what we saw from Jeff Van Gundy. We know is now a assistant coach on the Clippers, who have had a lot of issues with the Kawhi Leonard stuff that they keep going like this. That's just made up stuff. And you're like, I don't know. By the way, I did not bring up the made up stuff. If you've seen the story that Jerry Jones is filing a lawsuit against or an injunction or whatever against the NFL for hiring Bad Bunny to the Super Bowl halftime show, it's not true. It did not happen. Stop believing stuff you read on the internet. But I saw that pop up.
Unless it's a Texas Longhorns on SI.
Yeah, they believe that. It's the most trustworthy. Matt says it's trustworthy, so you got to go with that one. But this shirt, we'll see the shirt, and then I'll try and zoom in on the shirt for you. This is the shirt. Can you tell what that says from there? This is one of the assistant coaches. All the coaches are wearing this, Matt.
Oh, my God.
That is a shirt that all of the coaches are wearing. That this is apparently a Jeff Van Gundy idea. If we want to read off what it is, it says get thee, and then what's that called when you use the letters and then they spell something out? But it says get thee, and then it says F, floor balance. F is floor balance. Then U, big U, urgency. Then C, consistent communication and concentration. And the K is no, we lost to Denver because of transition. Says get the fuck back. That is what the shirt says. And it has different words for each F-U-C-K in it. This is what the Clippers are wearing to try and get their guys to care to get back on defense.
That is so dumb.
Does it not feel like a Jeff Van Gundy thing 100% though?
It does. It absolutely does. That is so dumb. Like, you don't need shirts to get your professional basketball players to pay attention.
I think you do. I think you need some
You
shirts.
say get back on defense or you're cut. We're releasing you.
You can't cut all these guys. They're all like geriatric. They're all,
Or you're traded or whatever. We're trading you for cash considerations to Minnesota.
Yeah, by geriatric, by the way, I mean slightly younger than me. That's still
my age.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years younger than me is what I usually mean by geriatric in the NBA. That is geriatric in the NBA. Let's see. Do I have another one in here? Do I have another? Let's say. I don't know if I have another one in here. We'll play this one because Matt didn't see it yesterday. Maybe you didn't see it. This was Shedeur Sanders clip we were talking about. Shedeur Sanders not talking to the media, Matt.
Quarterback. Vocally, anything to say?
I guess one more. I guess what do you think you have to show? Show to the coaches just to have them have that belief in you that you can be ready.
What can you say?
Shedeur Sanders miming, not saying anything. That's I don't know who's giving him advice, but I would say maybe talk to some other people.
This guy's career is about to go down the tube extremely quickly if he doesn't turn things around. It's absolutely ridiculous. This isn't the same thing as Marshawn Lynch sitting at a press conference at the Super Bowl week and saying, "I'm here so I don't get fined," because he's already proven that he's a really good NFL player and that they can rely on him to do the things that he needs to do to be prepared and can contribute on game days. Shedeur Sanders has accomplished nothing, and he will never accomplish anything if he continues to act this way. And it's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm not surprised that he does things like this because, one, his dad is Deion Sanders, who is the king of not caring about anything that anybody else says because he knows that he's the best ever. Shedeur Sanders is a Nepo baby. Shedeur Sanders is he's been handed everything on a silver platter for his entire life, and he gets a statue outside of Colorado Stadium.
He's not getting a statue. He's getting his name
like
the
name in the Ring of Honor or the Hall of Fame or whatever.
Upside,
for never doing a thing.
For being friends with the Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah. Point exactly. It's ridiculous.
You know what would be great is if Texas just put all the people that would be under like the same qualifications as Shedeur Sanders. I mean, hell, Colorado could probably do it, but like just take all the people who have like similar enough stats or like help the team. I don't know what it was, and just be like, no, we're going to put up these 2,500 names.
Every quarterback who ever got Texas bowl eligible is in the Ring of Honor.
We'll be honoring Garrett Gilbert.
Shane Buechele, I don't know.
Yeah, Shane Buechele.
Case McCoy is in the Ring of Honor, everybody.
For that run, yeah. For that one run, definitely.
And I love Case McCoy. This not a shot against Case McCoy. I'm just saying.
We all like Case McCoy. We're just saying he probably shouldn't be in the Ring of Honor in Texas.
Probably not.
Probably should be held to a high regard. I think he would agree with that. I think he would agree that maybe it's a little bit higher regard than that. But hey, if he would have gone to Colorado, you just got to play quarterback there. You can get in.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up here on a Thursday. Go watch some football. See, we got Red Sox Yankees. It's not quite like a game 7, but it's a game 3 Red Sox Yankees. Is that a big enough game? I don't know. We'll see. That's on tonight.
Not to get me to watch it, I'll tell you that.
We'll continue on. We'll be back tomorrow. Got picks. Got ready for a big Friday show before Texas, Florida. Can't wait for it. We'll be back. Until then, be safe, be kind, keep your underwear clean. We'll be right back here tomorrow for more of Open Gym.